Content contains adult language and humor that is not suitable for viewers under the age of 18. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. The views and opinions expressed during the following video content are those of the individual and may not reflect those of others. Thank you.
Oh my God, who the hell cares? Oh my God, who the hell?
Cash Money can put this change in my piggy bank any day.
Good evening and welcome, one and all, to this edition of Pacific414 Pop Talk here on the Pacific414 YouTube channel, Baron Orman Tags Fandom Legacy, the Phantom Hooligans, and also the Pacific414 Rumble channel, along with Baron Orman Tag, Cash Money 007. I am your host, Mike, and tonight we've got a fun topic of discussion. And that fun topic of discussion is our favorite movies and television shows. And guess what? We're not even going to razz each other when we hear someone say, well, I like, End of Days. Or I like Beavis and Butthead, Do America. No. It's what
It's a good movie.
what our favorite movies are. What our favorite television shows are. I'm sure we're all going to, have different movies that we go, yeah, that's a great movie. That's a great movie. And then other movies where we're going to probably go, wow, what is it about that movie that you like? Well, that's where we explain why we like this movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, we had the flaming hemorrhoid in the opening titles, and then you mixed up the music a little bit, man. That threw me off. It's like, whoa, what's that?
Well, that's just a little longer version of the typical Wednesday edition of Pop Talk theme. I wanted to change it up. You know me, I don't want to stay with one thing for too long and let it get stale.
Nope.
That's just me, though.
Sometimes with you, it's like every 2 weeks and it gets stale. Nothing wrong with that now. It keeps things lively and fresh.
You know what it is, Baron? It's like, I could tweak this a little bit to make it a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're always trying to, what would you say, get better, do stuff better, improve.
I don't want to be complacent.
No. Not like Cass.
Excuse me?
Huh?
Huh?
Just seeing if you're at work. Oh, wait, work.
At work? Okay. Baron's losing it.
Yes, I am. I'm very professional at that.
Well, you know what? Phil's here, so I'm going to go ahead and play this clip.
From Kraken, worst troll ever.
I'm so glad Agent Smith has decided to pop in.
I'll be fine, Phil. I'll be fine.
Two M's and remember, Phil. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Oh, you kidding? You obviously haven't seen some of my Twitter posts where after I posted, it's like, Mike, there's only one E and a half, not two. It's like, Elon, I don't want to have to pay to edit my post. Let everybody edit their post. Make that a
Yeah.
freebie.
Yeah, that would be nice if they gave people that option. Just in case people mess up, they were writing something too fast. Yep.
Cassius Larry. Yeah, Cassius Larry.
Yeah, he is.
I'm
Curly.
Mo. I'm Mo, and Baron's Curly. I mean, I know that has Shemp in there, but that's all right.
Yeah. Well, you know,
I think Anonymous is supposed to be Shemp, isn't he? Somewhere.
Yeah, he is.
I think so. and Phil has now been turned into Curly Joe Dorito.
Ah, yes.
Well, that's part of the topic of tonight's show, Padawannabe.
Mm-hmm.
To other people, it may not be a great movie or a great TV show, but you love it. And that's also what I need to do too. I didn't do it before the show. I was relaxing a little bit. I need to put in that question on both YouTube and Rumble. What are your favorite movies and television shows?
You know, going back to like that Battlefield Earth, and I think for most people, we all know it's a bad film, but it's a guilty pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
And I read the close to 1,000-page tome that L. Ron Hubbard wrote, and you know the movie, as they even said themselves, only did about a third of that book, and they intended to turn into a series of films a la Lord of the Rings for each part of the book. But Johnny Travolta, come on, man.
Yeah, John Travolta, good actor, but come on, man.
Yeah, really good actor.
Come on, man. Come on.
Okay,
come on.
Now I have that question pinned to the top of the chat on both the YouTube and Rumble sites. If you gentlemen want to do that for your respective YouTube channels, you can. This way we can get a whole group effort here and find out what everybody likes. And I'm going to go ahead and toss the first pitch and ask Baron, what are some of your favorite movies and television shows?
Swing and a miss, strike one. Okay. Well, let's think about it. You know, I've been actually having a hard time thinking about this because
it's tough,
again,
man.
like I said early, there's those guilty pleasures, those things that you just adore, and there's this great popcorn flicks out there, and there's so and it kind of goes the same way with TV shows, like I know I got a kick out of, I think it was Comedy Central did it, Moonbeam City, where they're using the art of Patrick Nagel, the famous artist for that did Duran Duran's cover for that one album, and kind of signified that 80s look. And of course, then threw it in a fictional neon vaporwave, synthwave city, and it only lasted 13 episodes, but I got a kick out of it. It was the misses and some of the others go, oh boy, you're weird. But but in all reality is, I mean, it's just that good step away and relax, and when the missus starts hearing some of that synth wave sometimes playing, you go, oh, that sounds like that music from that that show that show with the animated. Oh, you mean Moonbeam City? She goes, yeah. It's like, come on, you should recognize this music too. We grew up at the same time. It was hard not to escape, that type of music. It was generally used in a lot of B films and various other things. And that's a reason when I'm sad to see it only lasted one season. I think I'm going to keep this in the animated. This part in animated. The Critic was John Lovitz. I thought
It
that was a brilliant
stinks.
piece. You got that right. I thought that was a brilliant piece of satire going.
It was.
Yeah, it was just absolutely hysterical to me, and especially how he was playing that part in that film and that TV show. Of course, it changed dramatically when it went from, I think it was ABC to Fox, but then it went that way, and it torqued off Matt Groening because they did that crossover episode, and Matt Groening was just mad that they did that, and I think that was one of the only episodes of The Simpsons where I think he took his name off or something like that, and did the kind of the Alan Smithy type of thing with ignoring it, which sad because it was funny. It was a funny episode.
It
of
was.
The Simpsons, but
having
I
Jay
think
and Homer interact and.
Exactly, and I think what made that show was John Lovitz and how he talks. He was absolutely brilliant in there. I think the early Family Guy and early Simpsons were brilliant, and I love them. I do have a slight disagreement with Cash, where the later Simpsons, it's like, okay, you've beaten this horse to death, and you're doing it again and again and again. Now it's just skeletons. Stop beating the skeletons.
I agree with you, man. If it goes off the air, it goes off the air. I just find it funny that they're still trying, yet Family Guy has gone in a completely stupid direction for the last few years. But Simpsons at least are trying. I don't care what Crit and other people say; they are trying. I mean, you watch them, but other times, some of the voice changes, it's not working. It's not good.
Well,
if you're going
exactly.
to change the voice, you've got to get somebody who sounds more like the person. Just like they found that person who on YouTube who sounds more like Cleveland.
Right. Well, what do you get? You get a show that's all based on satire.
Right.
Caving in. It's like, that's not how you do it. Excuse me. That's not how you satire, bro.
Now, this also might be influenced by Disney, of course, because this is under Disney, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it was only after they got their grubby little mouthy hands into it. Yeah.
But Seth MacFarlane did come out and say, I'm not going to make these certain jokes, and that's bad too. So
right. Exactly. And when he was supposed to be going out there and being, a crude version of satire.
Right.
And so, obviously I've been keeping it to like the anime. Of course, we can go back to the Transformers and all that.
Oh yeah,
He-Man, all the stuff that we grew up with as kids.
Yes.
But these are the things as you see as you grow up, and your tastes change. Like you said, Beavis and Butthead. It can go old fast, but I like the TV show, and I like it especially when they don't have the music videos, because it's not necessarily my cup of tea for the music video in there. I just want to, just show me Beavis and Butthead doing their antics. Remember Celebrity Death Fight?
Oh, Celebrity Death Match! I used to watch that a lot, especially with that show coming out at the height of the wrestling craze of the late 90s, early 2000s. You had Stone Cold Steve Austin a couple of times on the show, and then the different celebrities. It was funny, and
you even had Beavis and Butthead.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
Dumbass.
So, I mean, there's a lot good in that one, but I figured I'd leave this first part with like animated TV and then move it to you and wait for my turn again if I get another one. Well, even though Cash jumped all over me on what I was saying there. I mean, his thing about the Simpsons. My feelings are slightly hurt right now. I'm kind of intimidated. And remember, Mike, Cash and I are not talking with each other, so that's why he did that vicious. So,
Cash, why did you let us know what your favorite television shows and movies are?
Oh man,
we'll go around the horn.
That's a tough one. But I mean, Phil mentioned some, like MASH. I mean, MASH is something to me that you can watch over and over and over again, and it still is the same enjoyment. I know you guys will probably laugh about some of the shows, but like, of course, Seinfeld, I can still watch a lot. Friends, I can still watch a
Get
lot. Just like
out!
Can I mock
Anonymous.
him? Can I mock him,
Get
please? Can I
out!
mock him for that? Can I please mock him for that?
But
Go
no,
ahead. Go
I'm
ahead.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
I know,
kidding.
but no, I mean,
Hey,
I
Barrett.
like.
Barrett, they're opening up a new store down the street. No kidding.
I think
Yeah.
stuff like you know, The Office, the American version of The Office is still a
Yeah.
great show. I think that's even a better show overall in terms of enjoyment than Parks and Recs. I think Parks and Recs had a great cast, but then there's also shows like Veep, which I thought was really good. Some of the most crude dialogue that I have ever heard in my life, like insults, but not a fan of how that ended. I don't. Selena should not have become president. Spoiler alert, but no, really. She shouldn't. Frasier, of course. Frasier, I still think is a fantastic show. I still think Cheers is a great show. Mr. Belvedere, I think, is another show that you can watch over
I
and
loved
over
watching
again.
that show as a kid. I
Yeah.
loved watching
I
Mr.
think
Belvedere.
Webster is still not a bad show. Family Matters, I've probably watched until my head is falling out of my socket. I still love that show. It's nice to see good values. I think the original Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is a cool show, but I do have mixed feelings now because of what's happened with Will Smith. But you know, does that mean he deserves to be punished for being on a quality show? But
yes,
James Avery, of course. I think without him, and then. You know, are we including cartoons as well, Mike, in this, or
favorite movies and television shows?
okay.
What
So,
did I just list?
keep going.
Cash.
I just want to make sure.
Animated.
I know.
Aren't you paying attention? Aren't you paying
I
attention?
am.
No, he
but
doesn't.
But still, I want to make sure that it's okay because it's like that's kind of in a different category.
Mr. Cash, wake up and pay attention to what being taught here in the lesson.
I know, but
yeah.
no, but,
remember how you savagely attacked me about my views on Simpsons?
What?
Come on, man.
Come
on, man. Cash Pop is a bad dude. Cash Pop is a bad dude.
I did not attack you on your views, knucklehead. No, but I mean, like, animation is kind of like when you say TV shows, it's also like it could just be the stuff like MASH. But if we're going to include cartoons,
it encompasses everything.
Right. Okay.
It encompasses everything as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, growing up, I look, to me, we were spoiled, and we've talked about this before. We had everything from growing up with Looney Tunes. What else? Darkwing Duck, DuckTales. I could watch DuckTales until my eyes fall out of my sockets because it's just a great show. It's still a great show. Even the remake was quite good. It's not as good as the original, of course. I will never say that it is, but they still followed the formula pretty well. I think shows like Phineas and Ferb is really good. If you guys ever watch that, I think it has some really fun messages and good values. It's crazy considering that's under Disney.
Right.
Tiny Toon Adventures, I think, was a great show too. The original X-Men. I mean, like I said, we were spoiled. Freakazoid, I still think, is a really good show. It's something you can go back to and watch again and again and again. Yeah, I think Malcolm in the Middle is still a really good show. I haven't watched it in a while. Like, there's certain shows I'll go back. It's like, oh, Seinfeld's on, so I'll check that out. Yeah.
You know what's funny? Malcolm in the Middle is one of those shows I looked at and went, this is stupid, but I felt myself watching it and laughing.
Right. Yeah, it is.
And that's the reason why it was stupid, but somehow we could relate to it. And that's what kept us around. It's like, just because it's stupid doesn't mean it's good. We need stupidity like that.
Right. Yeah, I don't see, like, there's just, as I said, we were spoiled, guys. Like, there was just shows and shows and shows. Of course, Firefly, of course, it didn't go on very well, but I still think it's a great show. And I think the movie is great too. I'm very proud of the fans for pushing that to get that done.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, one of my favorite television shows, and it was one of the shows I used to watch with my dad a lot, was Airwolf.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the theme song alone, but that helicopter was so cool.
Mm-hmm. It's a sad fate that befell that helicopter, though. But yeah, it was such a great helicopter.
Mm-hmm. And then of course we would watch The Fall Guy, that the new movie is supposedly based on, but from what I saw in the trailer, it's like this doesn't look like the Fall Guy I remember.
In name only.
Yeah, because if you do any research into it, it's just they decided to go into a more comedy aspect for some reasons.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because they want to poke fun at that stuff instead of trying to do something serious about it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, instead of having Lee Major's character in the movie be serious, they make him a complete joke.
Right.
From what I saw in the trailer, but I liked watching that show, and yes, I liked watching Columbo with my parents too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes, Columbo is still a quality show.
And Rockford Files.
Yes, yes, Rockford Files.
Yeah.
And I know somebody's gonna say, "Man, Mike, you're old." Well, these are just shows I like watching. Even as a kid, I like watching them with my parents, and just great shows to watch. With my dad being in the California High Patrol, yes, we watched Chips.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good show.
It was.
Yeah.
So some of the comedies I like watching on TV, Growing Pains was one of my favorite.
Yeah, I used to watch that growing up.
And of course, Family Matters. Did I do that?
Got any cheese?
Steve, what are you doing here?
Yep.
But then, as far as movies are concerned, one of my go-to movies, even to this day, is still sitting down and watching the '89 Batman. Batman '66.
Yes.
That's right. You're dumb.
Sitting down and watching Platoon. That's a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we watched Stripes not too long ago for our watch party, but that's one of my favorite comedies to watch, and
quite enjoyable, I have to say.
Yeah.
See all of it. I'm glad.
40-Year-Old Virgin.
Still a very funny movie. That's I think stuff like Forgetting Sarah Marshall, those type of films. I miss that kind of comedy we've talked about before, but I really do. It's just those were well written stories. They were good stories, interesting characters and funny moments. And
well, when Beverly Hills 90210, and I'm talking about the original version when that came out,
Oh, yeah.
I can remember myself and other people I knew watching it when it came on in its early days. And, Melrose Place.
Yep.
All those good ones. And what's great about Beverly Hills 90210? They came from Minnesota.
That's true. They did.
That is true.
Yep.
The Walsh family.
Yep. And if you're looking for that deep drama and stuff, you want to write that deep drama. Definitely soap operas is the way to go. There's a lot of deep drama. Need some ideas. It's still out there. Yeah.
But you know what movie I used to watch, and I could still watch it to this day. It doesn't matter how many times I've seen it. I still enjoy it, and it's my favorite of all of them, is Raiders.
Oh, you mean the new one?
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh yeah, dude, it's a classic. It's always
that was my introduction to Harrison Ford, not Han Solo. It was Raiders.
Yep. Classic movie.
Classic.
And of course, when you get into animated, you can't go wrong with any Hanna-Barbera production. I mean, I used to watch.
You really can't.
Even though it only lasted one season, it was Speed Buggy.
No.
And you know who voiced Speed Buggy, don't you? You wascally wabbit! You don't even know who voiced Speed Buggy? Mel Blanc.
Mel Blanc.
Man
Well,
of a thousand voices.
He voiced everybody, everything.
He voiced a lot of stuff.
He did.
I watched an interview of him a few months ago. Just what a fascinating person.
Yeah, he was on David Letterman and one time and talking to him about doing all the voices. And you don't get talent like that anymore, where they can do multiple voices. And
no, I mean you got like Phil Lamar and a few others like that.
Yes, yeah.
But you know they've gone to such a stage, or Billy West. But they've gone to such a point that they want to get famous people who don't do other voices than their own. I mean, as much as Katie Seagal is just adorable, she can only play, basically only her voice.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It works well, but yeah.
Yeah, but the age, and of course now with AI coming out, which is a frightening thing. So much, I think, is that people will be discouraged to do that. I mean, you're going to have imitators out there trying to do their things, but no, they'll rather go with something like that. Just do an AI machine. I think in the near future, but I don't think they're as prominent or wanted anymore in the basically the animation trade, the voiceover trade.
And that's damn shame, if you ask me.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, again, like you said, of course, Mel Blanc, and there's June Foray. She was another one that did multitudes of voices you never knew where they would be. In fact, she even made one appearance in The Simpsons at the Rubber Baby Buggy daycare thing. The one where they had the crooked babysitter come by.
Yes.
Yeah, who I think was Penny Marshall in that episode. I could be wrong, but I think that. But so I mean, look at all the things that she was in, and sometimes people didn't even know it. And I think for them that's kind of a compliment because it means they're doing their job well.
They're doing their job well. They're doing their job right. Where they're trying out a brand new voice, and you can't even tell it's them.
Exactly. Did I say exactly? Oh my god, I have problems.
You did say exactly.
I sound like a Denny's commercial.
That's right. Get our exactly breakfast sampler for $5.99. That's right, $5.99. The exactly breakfast sampler. Only at Wendy's or Denny's. Sorry.
Yeah, but we don't accept cash monies. They get thrown out. If you remember that controversy, and then of course coming back, has it come full circle now? Just curious. Before I start,
keep going. Let's keep this party going.
Oh yeah, okay. So like I said, I decided to hit TV shows. I mean the animated. When it comes around the sitcoms, there is absolutely so many out there that I enjoy. I mean, I suppose you could call it an early what do they call it? Comedy dramas, dramedies, and that's Hogan's Heroes. Hogan's Heroes is absolutely friggin' funny, and part of it is the insane writing they had on the show, and the other part was the insane actors. Of course, you had Vinna Klimper and John Banner, and I can't remember the name of the one who played General Hofstadter, who are all Jews playing people on the the other side, you might say, in that war. And it's like this was their own personal revenge by mocking them and what they were. And of course, John Better made it known that Schultz was not part of the party, shall we say. But he's just this poor guy that got owned a toy factory and got shoved into doing this guard job at the Stalag, which technically is incorrect because they would have had all of the Wehrmacht in there, and not Wehrmacht, but Luftwaffe in there, because that was the Air Force base type of situation where all the people that were in the air. But we'll overlook that because again, it's a dramedy. Richard Dawson, Robert Clary, again, who is Jewish, just passed away a couple of years ago, I think, at a ripe old age. And of course, you can't forget old Bob, leading as Colonel Hogan. It was just an absolutely hysterical show. And people today that want to pound hard on it, they don't understand. I mean, it was pounded on back then. Things came out and said, just relax it. Relax. Come on. But in the long run, in the end, you got the ignorant, no, you're ignorant crowd today. And they're so quick to besmirch it and Bing Crosby for it. I used, I'd watch I Love Lucy. I was enthralled in it. I liked R.M.S. Brooks. I was in one of those phases where I got to see a lot of these old shows because, these were kind of the fillers on 5 networks. Technically 4 in our area, 4 because those were the quote unquote commercial stations, the 5th being PBS. You went along. I remember watching when I was a kid, Chico and the Man, and unfortunately Freddie Prinze Sr. Quitted himself. He had mental history. Self-deleted. Thank you. And of course, we can't forget good old Stanford and Son. Elizabeth, I'm coming, Elizabeth.
Coming, Elizabeth. It's a big one, Elizabeth.
The early Mork and Mindy's were good. I'd say the first.
Nanu.
The first 2, maybe and a half or so seasons before they got married, and then of course, even though they brought mirth in, Jonathan Winters is a great actor in Improvist, but that kind of got a little teary away. Laverne and Shirley, in some ways, I liked Laverne and Shirley more than Happy Days.
And Happy Days in the early days was a good show, but it was one of those shows that also got long in the tooth.
So,
when the cast changed, especially in the later seasons.
Yeah, and that's just it. And of course, the term "jumping the shark." Well, that episode wasn't the one that really was the quote unquote shark jumper per se. But when you started shifting it from who the story was about, Richie Cunningham and his friends, Henry Winkler became so popular as the Fonz, everything started shifting the Fonz, and then it started getting carried away and crazy. He's like he was a walking god, and that's when it's like, okay, Happy Days is kind of Laverne and Shirley up to when they went to L.A. It's like, no, keep them in Milwaukee. They work best in Milwaukee. You move along with the sitcoms, and obviously there's different factors. Cheers is absolutely brilliant comedy, sitcom, whatever you want it. And I have news for people. That is what it's like being a barfly. Take it from a barfly at one time. Except that place was a lot neater and cleaner than some of the places I hung out in. But the dynamics were still there, just like WKRP in Cincinnati. So much of that show was based off of actual things that happened. And then, of course, all the crazy characters around it. That made that show absolutely fantastic. Of course, Night Court.
Great show.
Great
theme, too.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're going to watch Cheers, you got to watch Radio. I never got
News Radio.
Oh, News Radio was
Phil
great.
Hartman.
Yes.
Yeah, Phil Hartman. Yeah.
One of the main reasons. Yeah, it wasn't the same with John Lovitz. It's not that John Lovitz isn't still funny, but it just wasn't this. It just didn't have the same kind of chemistry to it that Phil Hartman added with News Radio, unfortunately. So
yeah,
right. And Phil Hartman was even though on The Simpsons and all that, again, he was a one voice talent, but was still funny. It's Phil Hartman being that smarmy guy.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, I kind of dropped out. I didn't think there was a lot of good sitcoms, but then again, I was busy with a lot of things too in life, and wasn't able to sit down and watch the tellies and all that. And I mean, I watched some of Big Bang, but really, honestly, I'm not that enamored by it. And
That's
some of the
all right,
other,
man.
yeah, I know, and I thought it started out good. But then
they went away from
went
things.
down
I mean,
fast.
even the later seasons, like the show, I would say going 13 seasons, it ended well. But even Sheldon's monologues, which were usually quite funny, got old after the last few years of the show. And then they went. I think one of the biggest problems with that show still, even though I've liked a lot of Big Bang, is they went away from the nerd culture, and I think that does hurt the show. But once they stopped, like when my brother and I would watch the later seasons of Big Bang when it was still on before it hit syndication completely,
Right.
it's just Sheldon's monologues weren't very good. I'm like, you guys used to make this really funny. But
right.
yeah. And then of course there was videos out there where they had no laugh track and how bad this show is, or they were trying to show how bad this show is, and that it's just not the same. But I get that, like the laugh track can change things and make things better.
Right.
But yeah.
One show, it's a blessing they never put one on there because it would have detracted away from the show. Only lasted only 4 episodes there and 6 episodes made, and that is Police Squad. No laugh track in the whole thing, but absolutely friggin' hysterical. And the laugh track would have gone there and disturbed and destroyed everything with it.
Oh, I'm sure it would have.
Well, with Police Squad, it was all Leslie Neeson and all him. You don't need a laugh track. You're your own laugh track when you're seeing which sort of shenanigans, even though it was only those 6 episodes that Frank Drebin is getting in.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely brilliant TV. Absolutely brilliant TV. And again, too bad it only lasted 6 episodes because ABC just couldn't understand the show, what it was about.
Yeah, look at The Naked Gun from the files of Police Squad and how successful that was.
Look at ABC with Clerks, the animated series. Like they're like, oh, this is horrible. Like ABC didn't really want to give it a chance.
Right. And what I saw of it, I thought was good.
Much. Yeah, it was.
I mean, there wasn't many episodes.
Very funny, especially when they have like Charles Barkley come in, and I'm Charles Barkley. Get out of here, Charles. What are you doing here? It was just so funny how they timed it every time. It's just, yeah. But that show actually got very edgy when Kevin Smith actually was edgy.
Right.
I miss that Kevin Smith, but whatever.
Well, that's what we always sit back and say. Once people start getting too popular or whatever, they lose the way, and he's one of them.
Yep.
He's one of them.
I still think movies like Clerks is still very underrated and really good. I still think Clerks is better than Clerks 2. I didn't hate Clerks 2. I remember I thought it was pretty funny. It got pretty gross there. But
for anybody that's worked any kind of job where you deal with the public, whether it's at a mini mart like that or you work retail or anything, you can relate to different situations. It's my day off and they called me in. I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I think any of us that worked in that identifies with it. No if, no ands, and no buts.
Yeah.
Bump.
And how many of us had a coworker like Randall? Or we knew someone like Randall?
Maybe I was Randall. The world may never know. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It shows that everybody is kind of this, there's always going to be a doppelganger of sorts of people out there that you're going to run into, which is why for these people, they glom onto these people they knew in life and use caricatures of them. And they have people, I guess, going, I knew someone just like that.
Or you go, wait a minute, that's me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just even shows like Three's Company, I still think is great. Just the situation.
Oh, yeah.
John Ritter, not only, the comedy as to what they were saying, but the physical comedy is what really made the show. John Ritter just going out there and doing all the physical comedy that he could during the course of the show. That's what made it great. Yes, I liked Suzanne Summers.
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, that show, even though it was a repetitive trope to the whole thing, which is style, the pratfall of John Ritter, and of course, originally the Ropers, and then later on, you had, of course, Mr. Furley come in, all played by excellent actors and actresses.
Yes.
And some of the other side characters. That show was always funny, even with the cast changes. And it was just a delight. And to be honest with you, I found Joyce DeWitt more good looking than most of the women there. It sounds strange, but I don't know.
No, she was a good looking woman.
She was a good looking woman, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like, and yeah, I forgot to put that show in there because Three's Company. Oh yeah, and that was a daring show for its day.
Yes, it was. It was very controversial.
Well, there's a show that's controversial now, depending on who you ask, but it wasn't controversial when it came out. It was very popular. Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh yeah, they're the good old boys.
Such a fun show.
Now, what are them Duke boys gonna do now that Boss Hogg wants to buy their land? I'm sure they'll think of something.
Well, them Duke boys got themselves in a whole heap of mess of trouble.
This is Roscoe Pico Train.
Yeah. And what a great James Best, what a great character actor he was too.
And also he was a bombardier during World War II. He was in a B-17. That was a fun show.
It was.
Here in Hazard County, filmed in LA County, but it's Hazard County.
I think the pilot or whatever was actually filmed that way, and they say, no, we're going up here to California.
And of course, Catherine Bach. Come on, man.
Yep.
Daisy.
In the Daisy, the Daisy shorts or whatever they call those. So.
And I know somebody might like Jessica Simpson as Daisy Duke in the Dukes of Hazzard movie, but come on, Catherine. Catherine's the OG.
I saw a few scenes of that, and I was like, "This is not Dukes of Hazzard." I don't know. I wasn't getting the same feel that I got from the TV show. I don't know if you guys actually. I'm sure some people probably think that movie's a guilty pleasure, the Dukes of Hazzard film. But
I saw it. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it all the same.
Yeah.
It was just like, okay, this is an interesting take on the Dukes of Hazzard, but it's not Dukes of Hazzard.
Yep. Well, it's just like I saw the newest trailer for, of course, that Transformers animated movie that's coming out. It's like, yeah, I don't hate this animation, but once again, compared to G1 and comparing this, it's just like the humor is so out of place for the Transformers. They wouldn't act like this. Oh, look, I got this and I can transform now. Hey, I fell off a cliff. Like, it's weird. Like, that's not how they act. It just isn't. It's like, did you guys go back and watch, any of you people? any of the actors, the director, whatever, everybody who's working on this production, did you go back and actually sit down and watch a few episodes of G1?
Oh, you never know. It could be a thing where, just like with Transformers, the movie, Hasbro said, only refer to this piece of Transformers lore, this piece of
Yeah, they
Transformers lore,
could
and
do
that
that.
piece of
That's true.
Transformers lore. Don't pay attention to this.
Yeah.
And by this, I mean the G1 episode from season 2, War Dawn.
Mhm.
Like I said, when we talked about that trailer, we already know the first meeting of Orion Pax, Optimus Prime, and Megatron, and it's in the season 2 of the original show
Mhm.
Hey,
called War Dawn.
Mike, don't dead name him, okay? Please, don't dead name Optimus Prime. He's the reason why he's a Transformer.
Okay, this took a weird turn.
Doesn't it always so? Doesn't it always?
Well, it's just like it's the same thing with stuff like the G.I. Joe movies. Like those can be guilty pleasures, and they certainly got Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow correct because they're on. They have their mask on. Wow, what a concept! But still, it's just like there were actual serious moments in that cartoon, and you don't really find those serious moments in the movies. There's some things you can like, but you just don't find them. It's unfortunate. So it's like you guys are missing the point of certain things in here.
You know, what you missed out with the animated show is Cobra had a decent plan for its soldiers, man.
Yeah,
You know,
they did.
I mean, their own healthcare, gyms, I mean, they lived in paradise. It's like, screw the world, just keep it here, man.
Right. That's a good point, man.
I think part of what also makes some of these cartoon series memorable is the voice acting.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, you remember the voice of Cobra Commander, not just because Chris Latta was also Starscream, but it was very distinctive. Whenever he said something, yes, Baron.
Yeah.
Yes, Cash.
Cobra!
Yeah, well, you got to get that S thing in there because it's snakes.
Destro, Baroness, like, yeah, I mean, all the voices, Scarlet, just really, really good cast of voice characters.
Baroness.
Yeah.
I would switch so fast, but then again, I have to, put Destro in its place,
What do you mean you'll have to put me in my place, Baron? The Baroness is mine. Cobra Commander. Baron is trying to move in on the Baroness.
Oh, really?
Nah. I mean, let's face it. Back in the 80s, early 90s, shows were fun. Even going into the early 2000s, shows were still fun.
Yep, they were until, I mean, there's still a few fun shows out there. There's still a few shows that even offend people, which I think is a tribute to the show, which is because the way it's offending people, it's just funny, but there's just not that much out there anymore. And things that are coming back that people enjoyed for so many years, they've been changed so much. And it's not, and then they wonder why the ratings are lower. It's like, well, because you're not giving a lot of people what they really want anymore. So you just want to throw these things in there. You want to lecture people. That doesn't help.
Right. See, there's two ways of being offended. One, and it's when you have all these little nattering nabobs of negativity going out there, finding whatever reason to be offended by something that they shouldn't be.
Right.
And then there's the other way of insulting. We're intentionally going to go out there and smear these people and do this horrible assault on them. And it's like, of course that's offensive. I mean, it's also stupid.
Yes, exactly. That's why that even the spinoff of Big Bang, I would say overall, just the 7 years that it was on Young Sheldon, because it did keep more of the pop culture. And they even talked about Star Trek 2. And like after, spoiler alert, after Sheldon's father, which they talk about in the first episode, but they actually showed the funeral and everything and how Sheldon felt about it. Like it was legitimately emotional. It was like, this is one of the best family shows I've seen on TV in a long time. And it was just really well done, Baron and Mike. I mean,
Well,
it just was.
you don't
Even though it was a
get that
spinoff.
too much anymore. You know, remember the
You know.
TGIF block where you had Full House, you had Family Matters, Step by Step. Just to name three of them.
Do you know what one of my guilty pleasures was in that sense? Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the original series.
Because it's a fun show.
I liked watching it.
It didn't matter. It was
a
fun show, and it had some good messages in it. Yes, it with the witch stuff was cool. It just people that are offended by that show, and I'm sure some people are because they have to be. That was a fun show. It was just a fun show, and it's enjoyable, and you go back to watch it over and over and over again.
And here's the thing about Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Yeah, I like Sam, but I actually like Melissa Joan Hart in that show. I liked her more in that show than I liked her in Clarissa Explains It All.
Her aunts were really good too. I mean, just anybody they brought into that show, from Libby to other stuff, like it was just a really good show. And even when they got into the college years, it was the same type of show. It was just a lot of fun. A lot of fun. It has.
Anybody watch Saved by the Bell?
Of course.
I really didn't know. So, but I did watch, and it's from Canada. You can't do that on television.
Oh yeah, I remember watching that as a kid a lot.
That show.
And one of the reasons why I couldn't wait to see someone get slimed. You wanted to see someone get slimed on that show.
Well, even you go back and even watch like the old. You guys talk about slime, like stuff like Double Dare and so on. I mean, it's kind of still there. Like Nickelodeon still slimes people and stuff. But even these TV from like the game shows that you just turn on television, you watch them, you're like, wow, these are so good. Like they brought Card Sharks back, and then they took it away with the host of Joel McHale. It's like, dang it, guys. The show is so good.
Are we going to start moving to game shows now? Okay, great.
They are on television.
Television shows. It's no specific category for television shows.
Yeah,
just ones that you watched.
That's why I asked Mike before about that.
You mentioned Double Dare, Cash. How many of us kids growing up in the 80s, especially when that show was on, wanted to be on Double Dare?
Yeah, it's just fun stuff, man. Like these were just. They were like, let's make sure the audience is having fun. Let's make sure the celebrities are having fun. Let's make sure the contestants are having fun. I mean, I don't know how many years I watched, of course, of Price is Right. It was a great show.
Baron Orman Tagge, come on down. You're the next contestant on The Price is Right.
Waddle, script, roll. Yeah.
No, you're going to be like everybody else when their name's called. Oh my God, I'm being called. Yay.
Yeah, but I'm going to be waddling down there as I'm screaming and trip and start rolling.
Rolling. Get those doggies rolling. Rawhide.
I mean, back in the day, like, when I was growing up and such, I mean, that was, your go-to when you were sick at home, sitting down watching like The Price is Right and a bunch of that, or in the summertime when you got summer off.
Yeah.
So, Bob Barker and all those pretty ladies on there were part of our lives in that fashion.
Yes.
And I mean, but you start thinking about some of those great game shows that they used to have and how they did it. Because my babysitter was. I was just going to say that Tic-Tac-Toe and Joker's Wild, the original one, of course. Match
Press
Game.
Your Luck.
Match Game is
Press Your Luck.
Yeah.
No whammies. Stop, and then they get the whammy.
Yeah, exactly. Family Feud.
Yep. Yes.
And Supermarket Sweep.
I remember hearing about that show. Yeah.
Oh,
with Pat Sajak's last episode coming up, if it hasn't already, Wheel of Fortune. I used to watch that. I used to watch Jeopardy all the time.
I think everybody watched Wheel of Fortune at one time.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I mean
Yes.
that was, but yeah, Wheel of Fortune and of course Jeopardy. Sad that Alex Trebek is not around anymore to
Yeah,
lead the
he's not.
show, but
Ken Jennings isn't bad, and they've changed some of the format. It's fine. My brother and dad, and I mean, I'm sure it's still a popular show. They've got a quality host. No one's Trebek, but still, Ken Jennings isn't bad. So
The $100,000 Pyramid with Dick Clark,
yes, I remember watching that.
or American
Password.
Bandstand.
Yeah,
Yep.
Password. Yeah, Scrabble with Scrabble was.
I know.
Fun. Yeah.
I know American Bandstand wasn't a
Yep.
game show, but still,
No.
it was
Still
a
on
fun
television.
show.
Though. Yeah.
Right. I mean, these help define. I'm not really seeing much defining today out of some of these shows. You had the Soul Train.
Yeah, that was a fun show to watch too. Yeah.
And then you had the MTV for poor people, and that was Friday Night Videos.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have cable. Well, we got this every Friday night for you.
They even tried to freak people out with stuff like Tales from the Crypt. I mean, that was an interesting show, and it was definitely different. But yeah, Twilight Zone, of course. Yeah. I mean, these were just you were just like blown away. But obviously things were different back then. We didn't have streaming services and things like that we have now. But yeah, I mean, you just turn on something, you're like, oh man, what's coming up? Oh, the series finale of Seinfeld. And of course, at the time, like I was in high school, and it's funny when I first watched it, I said, yeah, it was pretty good. It wasn't. You go back years later, and you're like, you know what? Yeah, I guess the four of them probably deserved that. But it was just you were glued because you were excited. Same with Star Trek. Same with stuff of the Next Generation. It just you were just glued to the television. You were waiting for that season finale or series finale. You're like, oh, I can't wait. Yeah, you don't have that feeling as much anymore. At least I don't see it with a lot of stuff. Even these streaming services, like you've got 10 episodes of that, okay, but those should be like 10 quality episodes.
And no filler, but that's all you get.
Yep. You get this filler and you get this illogical stuff, and people go, oh, it makes sense. I'm like, how does it make sense? Like, it can't. You can justify it all you want, but it still doesn't make sense. I mean, even stuff like Batman the Animated Series, not the fact that it was just, it could get dark and the great storylines, just the really good writing, and just, of course, we got introduced to Harley Quinn. And she was not even in the comics. So like that was awesome. But that's something, of course, you watch forever and ever and ever. It's a classic cartoon. It's fantastic. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were bringing up anthology shows, and those were really like a big crux when you're going. You Playhouse 90. Of course, you mentioned Twilight Zone, The Outer Limits. Of course, they tried to revive some of that with like Dark Room and Night Gallery and the new Twilight Zone in the 80s. And of course, they tried bringing back a few times. And the same thing with The Outer Limits itself.
I've never really watched any of the new Twilight. I think it's on Sci-Fi, though. I think it's on the Sci-Fi channel still, but I've never really felt like watching the new Twilight Zone. Did you try it, Baron?
What, the one from the 80s?
No. Yeah. Did you try the new Twilight Zone, the one that came back, hosted by what was it, Jordan Peele? I think it is.
No, I would not touch that with a 10-foot pole because I already heard enough of what they were doing with that. It's like again, you're getting away from what it's about or how you present it.
Right.
No one's there is any Rod Serling. What was great about the 80s, the mid 80s series is you had Joe Straczynski involved in the show. You had Harlan Ellison writing at least one or two episodes of that, amongst others. They were still trying to keep it in that vein of the Twilight Zone, but it was just, you just had an hour-long episode with 2 stories a night. Of course, which helped with, bringing in Tales from the Crypt and a few other things like that. I mean, anthology shows are great because you bring somebody in and you have that 60-minute or 90 or 60-minute little play, and they're gone, and it's like, okay, who are we going to see next week?
Yeah, that's
like Bradbury Theater too. I mean, Bradbury Theater was another one.
And of course, when it comes to other shows that I like, yes, I know we talk about it every Saturday pretty much, but how could you forget about Babylon 5? Yeah.
I'm happy that I finally got to see that. I finally understand why my brother's best friend likes that show so much. It's just it actually impressed me. Still does.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at some of that with even comedy, science fiction comedy, with Quark, with Richard Benjamin, and of course you're listing off some science fiction shows. I mean, you have some obscure ones that were really good. I mean, you had that Logan's Run series that they had.
I think Sliders was still good. Was that the 90s?
Right. You had Planet of the Apes as a TV show.
Oh, really?
For a while. Yeah.
That would make sense. Okay. I didn't know that.
Well, of course,
the Bionic Woman, $1 Million
yes,
Man. I mean,
know about those, yeah. The Incredible Hulk was a fun show.
Right. He even had Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's true. Spider-Man was a live action show, yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman.
Yes.
You had these. So these science fiction fantasy shows, some were pretty good and some were, I mean, of course, we mentioned Airwolf. Then you had Blue Thunder, which Airwolf was kind of ripping off of, and that series stunk to high heaven. Automan in the 80s.
Mission Impossible is still a fun show. That's yeah. Sometimes it's hard to find this stuff too. Like, I don't think I ever really, at least growing up, that I remember watching. I might have watched some of Airwolf, but I really don't remember it. But I'll have to find that somewhere and start watching some of that. I see Donald P. Belisario created that, who of course also was involved with Magnum PI, which is another great show.
Great show.
The original was a great show. 8 years.
Yeah, all those. Yeah, all that cadre of people. Glenn Larson also worked with them. Of course, Battlestar Galactica, Buck Rogers, blah blah. Then you had Voyagers. With was it John Eric Hexum or Eric? Yeah, he was in that one, and who would later have that tragedy on the set. I mean, you had such wonderful attempts of trying new science fiction series, even in the 70s and 80s. And needless to say, with the 90s coming around, thanks to Star Trek: The Next Generation, you had War of the Worlds. It lasted 2 seasons. Mad Max, which is basically a cyberpunk TV show. If people were into cyberpunk, that's a show to watch. It's just crazy and insane and has a great cast in it. I mean, these are wonderful shows. Growing up watching that, it's like these are awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean, heck, my grandmother on my mom's side was the one that was over at our house watching my sister and I one night, and she turned on Golden Girls because she loved watching that show. And that's how I got introduced to Golden Girls.
Just to let you know, Cash still has that poster of B. Arthur in his room.
Yeah, right. It's B. Arthur definitely had a really good career, though. I will say that.
Oh yeah, he did.
She even popped up on an episode of Malcolm in the Middle when she was older. She was older.
She was also the voice of the Femme computer on Futurama.
Yep.
Snoo snoo. Awesome. Death by snoo snoo. Yay!
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. Like I said, like some of the shows that you guys have watched, like they weren't introduced to me. Like some of the stuff that was introduced to me growing up, of course, was because of my brother and my dad. anything from different TNG, of course, Star Trek,
Yep.
Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Those Indiana Jones, that was all introduced because of my dad and my brother. So, and I'm glad they introduced me to all that stuff. So.
Right. Well, and that's what's supposed to be happening. We're supposed to have good stuff to pass on to that next generation.
Exactly. Right. Yep. We are.
I mean, yes, I would watch Perry Mason.
Yeah, me too.
During the summer when
Perry Mason is another great
was
show.
home. Or sometimes when I was sick at school, I would turn that on because I liked watching it.
Yep.
Oh, now we're going into the legal and stuff.
I still think The Jeffersons is a great show.
Well, we're moving on up to the.
Still think All in the Family's a great show. It's just sometimes these shows you either can't find them on TV or you just haven't thought about watching them in a while. But they were still great.
Or you're looking for the season sets, and some of the season sets are still expensive because either they're out of print or they didn't print that many of them.
Yeah. I mean, I've had arguments with one of my friends a while back. It must have been at least more than a few years ago. It was before COVID. He was like, "Oh man, I never liked that Batman show. It was stupid." I'm like, "Oh really? That was a fun show, man."
Bam, pow, whap.
Yeah.
Some days you can't get rid of a bomb. I know that was more Batman the movie, but still, it was related to the show.
Yes.
Well, yeah, exactly. The part of that camp, it was, boom.
Yes.
But when we're talking about like the legal or police or anything like that, we have to throw in there our first responders for that matter. Dragnet, of course. The two series, the 50s and the 60s.
And the movie is
Adam
still
12.
fun to watch too. I still like the movie. Yeah.
And don't forget, there were already a couple of Dragnet movies before that.
Not surprising.
One done in the 50s and one done in the 60s, I believe. Then we have, of course, had Adam 12, another great, police drama.
I know that show. Yep.
There was one. Where are you?
There was one I was watching recently. It was a Police Woman with Andy Dickinson.
Yep.
I was like, wow, this is a pretty dang good show.
Yeah, and SWAT was another one.
That's right.
Oh yeah, and, that was one my dad and I watched together.
And then there was Emergency.
Another one he and I would watch together. But see, that's another thing I was thinking about for tonight. Bringing up shows that we used to watch with our parents, our grandparents. Other family members when we would go see them. Just bring back great memories because we don't always have to talk about all the negative items that are going on right now in Hollywood. We can always talk about the positive stuff because there's still positive stuff out there. You just have to know where to look.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you go to your grandma's house and what's usually on at some point? MASH.
Leave it to Beaver.
Yeah, leave it to Beaver.
Yep. Oh, well, and of course, Addams Family. I like the Munsters more, but I mean, I still like the Addams Family.
I still think the Munsters, that still cracks me up, dude. It's just a fun show too. And what they did, I can't push myself to watch the Rob Zombie one, Munsters.
No, I couldn't.
No,
can't do it.
Or that 1313 Mockingbird Lane thing that they had too. I mean, it's like Oh, I mean, then we, when you're talking about, like wholesome comedy shows or sitcoms, My Three Sons was one of my favorites growing up. With Fred MacMurray,
Bosom Buddies, I think is still a fun show. Gosh, I haven't watched that in a while.
And you also had let's see, we can't forget, of course, Green Acres. Petticoat Junction.
Green Acres is the place to be. Farm living, it's a life for me.
Never got into that show much. It was Green Acres.
It's hard.
That had Ava Gabor, who was the sister of Zsa Zsa Gabor.
and Eddie Albert.
Did you guys ever try Mod Squad? Did you ever watch that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No,
Oh yeah. Oh
really.
yeah.
I don't. If we did. I don't remember. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the interesting thing about the Green Acres was it was a very surrealistic show. It was part of that era where they're trying to do a little bit with that more surrealistic type of humor. I mean, even Batman was a bit surreal. Obviously it was with the camp in there, and My Mother the Car basically suffered from that because it was kind of coming to the end of that surrealistic phase. And just imagine, Dick Van Dyke's brother there, he almost became Gilligan. He turned Gilligan down to do my Mother the Car, which isn't that bad of a show.
No,
it really isn't.
I just wish people would also say, even like going back and watching Andy Griffith, for example, even the later ones, the older ones, like there's so many good values in there for everybody. How Andy feels about the situation, or he's like, oh, these people. I was watching the episode recently. It pops up on TV Land or whatever. And Andy was dealing with the fact that these people are more wealthier than he is, and he doesn't know if he should bring up stuff because it might make him look poor. And he's like, no, you know what? And then Opie says to him, well, you should. I'm glad I decided to be myself. And then it like triggered something in his brain. And so he starts talking about fishing and, oh, you guys got to like, I miss those values. We don't have much of that anymore.
No, we don't.
It's just, they're for everybody. They're great. It doesn't matter what race there are or whatever. They're just great values. And we could use that again.
We could use those shows again that have that moral compass. And
yes.
How dare you even suggest such things?
I know,
my
right?
word.
I know. I'm old fashioned, but hey, I am who I am. I'm not changing.
I am who I am, and I am.
Yes. I did watch every material that had Popeye in it. Whether
Popeye was fun, even
half
the movie
hour
with
that
Robin
showed
Williams.
all the original shorts, or Popeye and Friends, and
another show with a cartoon with good values. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, sticking with Popeye, watching Popeye with Robin Williams, that was one of my favorite movies to watch as a kid.
Robert Altman film.
Yeah.
Again, pretty surrealistic because it's Robert Altman. No.
Yeah.
But even then, he kind of did a notch on it. I mean, and I haven't really even started talking movies yet for myself.
Go ahead, Baron.
You call me good. Okay, no problem. Well, when we talk about favorites, I guess I'm going to have to push back quite a long ways in the past. But I think anyone who has not seen Citizen Kane has shorted themselves. I know. I don't want to watch it because it's black and white. It's like that is one of the most,
that's one of the most asinine excuses I've heard.
I understand some people don't like the story or don't think it's as amazing, but it's considered a classic. I still feel it's my all-time favorite movie. I love it. I need to watch it again. It's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great movie. I mean, excellent movie. People still use it to.
Yeah, they do in film class. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a great movie to study from.
Yes.
I mean, another one that's from the day, 12 O'Clock High. Probably one of the most accurate portrayals of the air war during World War II. And it was done not too long after the war.
What about stuff like Some Like It Hot? I saw that in film class. I couldn't believe how good that movie was. Really good film.
Yeah, there's a reason by it. And, King Kong, obviously, what a landmark movie that was. Absolutely landmark.
And there have been multiple versions of King Kong, too.
Yeah, Cash's favorite where they're in 1976 and on top of the World Trade Center.
Sure. Well, I thought of course, the Peter Jackson King Kong movie is still really good.
Mm-hmm.
Really good film.
Yeah. Exactly. And, you take a look at those old films, and you start looking at, of course, The Day the Earth Stood Still. What a fantastic movie that is. And a leap in presenting science fiction to the people out there, as well as Forbidden Planet, as well as some of these others they have. And of course, he had, the chintzy fun ones you want to watch. That was, like the giant tarantula one, walking across and knocking the zip, zip, zip. You had the Harryhausen films and Jason the Argonauts. Just that scene with the skeletons is probably one of the most amazing special effects scenes ever, considering the era that they did that in, and being able to choreograph actors fighting with these stop motion creatures that will be added in later, and the detail on those I don't know if you want to call them models, puppets, whatever, armatron, I don't know, but I mean, it was just absolutely fantastic. And people say, yeah, it's just so cheap. It's like, no, you just don't know how much hard work went in there. Of course, all the other stuff that Harryhausen did, including his last film, Clash of the Titans.
Oh, God, that movie is awesome.
I still love that movie.
Great film.
Right. We're talking about the original one.
Yes,
folks.
Yeah, we're not. I'm not talking about the remake. No.
I have not sat down and watched the remake and then the sequel. I just can't do it.
No, I can't either. My wife gave it. My former wife gave it to me. It's like, you really do hate me, don't you?
I thought you would like this, honey.
Yeah, she knows. And then you had things like Time Bandits by Terry Gilliam. I mean, talk about and of course he's very surrealistic as well. I mean, take a look at that and Baron Munchausen. When he started becoming more mainstream with 12 Monkeys, but it still had his fingerprints all over it. It's a slow film, but I think I do think it's a great film. Is Slipstream. A lot of people
never
don't
seen
know
it.
that.
I don't know that one, dude.
I have it. I have it on one of my DVD collections, and I think it might be on one of this streaming stuff that we got available. But Mark Hamill's the bad guy in there, and Bill Paxton is in there, and it's just. I mean, it's slow. I mean, you have Ben Kingsley and how can I have a mental block on Salieri's name from Amadeus? F. Murray Abram. There we go. See, that's my little tricks, except I keep it in my brain, but I'm saying out loud, so we don't have dead air. But they both have cameos or very small roles in that film too. And Gary Kurtz, known for Star Wars, we've mentioned his name many times before, produced this film. But people didn't catch on to it. But I think there's a new group that are starting to glom onto it, especially with Hamill playing the bad guy, which is kind of apropos right now, isn't it? Never mind. Never mind. No, I'm sorry. I'm so bad. I mean, there's a little quiet comedy, science fiction comedy called Electric Dreams, where a guy spills his drink on his new computer, home computer, and it gets a sentient. It becomes a living creature in a sense. And it's it's a sweet little film, love story, everything involved in that one. And I don't think that gets much love or people talk about. Looker. I will always sit back and say, everybody, if you can find the movie Looker with Albert Finney, please, for the love of God, watch it, because it's a Crichton film. Michael Crichton. But he had his fingers on the pulse so much that he was about 30 years ahead of time, or 20 years ahead of time, with this AI stuff. It really was. And it's like, it's kind of creepy. Yeah. I mean, it's slightly different. They do things slightly different in there, but it's the same thing. And it comes down to copyright issues. Who owns the body? Who owns the image? And what can you do that you can own that image or have it available for you without any problems? which in and by itself causes problems. Great movie.
Well, you mentioned earlier how some movies were innovative for their time. Star
Right.
Wars itself was innovative for its time with the motion camera capturing the ships and the way they're moving instead of the ships being on a string and going by the camera. It was the camera that actually went by the still model and switched to different angles to make it look like it was moving to one direction or another.
Right. Exactly. And when it comes around the hardware or technology, it was really ahead of his time. And of course, that's Dykstra. A lot of work of that came from Dykstra, who would later on use that on Star Trek: The Motion Picture and other ventures out there. Which this was the real reason why Battlestar Galactica was hunted down by Lucas. It was not necessarily the story, but the fact that Dykstra left him and then started work on Battlestar. And he was not happy using some of the techniques that he did with ILM. So, in that sense, for ahead of the time, And of course, it kept going and going, advancing. ILM became the new Disney in the form of special effects. It's amazing how much cinema, television, even literature has changed, through the ages. And of course, those translations from book to movie. Star Trek Trooper, horrible translation. Why? Because
Verhoeven didn't even want to follow the book. He wanted the movie to be all about action. He didn't care about the book.
Well, he wanted the movie that he was doing, but he was having problems, and they say, "Hey, why don't you slap this book on it? Star Trek Troopers. How's that sound?" So he went with a bastardized Starship Trooper with his twisted idea of doing a film, and which is why it doesn't work. We were everybody who loved science or loves science fiction. I'm not saying sci-fi. I'm saying science fiction. We're talking about stuff to make you go the stuff that twists your mind, and that was the Isaac Asimov approved Harlan Ellison written script of iRobot. You can find copies of the book out there and you can read it yourself. But when you see that, and then you have this Will Smith movie, you cry.
I'll
You cry.
Harrison, I'll have to read iRobot then.
Oh, and the short story, I've always sit back and say, do you want to have a primer into the science fiction universe? I think iRobot is one of the perfect ones to introduce someone who wants to know what's science fiction. But we were shorted that. But you had some of these adaptations from book to movie. Some are good. I mean, Dune 84. It's an adaptation. I think there was more elements than actual lifting and dropping. And of course, I saw the first Dune. I haven't seen the second one yet. I should. But with going that way, again, had its own little issues from the translation from book to movie, or movies in this case. But that doesn't mean it's not a good film. And I think the long suffering some because the dogs are starting to bark. My apologies. But when we have adaptations, I mean, those have been going on for such a long time. It's like, how many times did the Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas get translated in one form or another? Whether it's a movie, a mini series, or even a special movie of the week with Louis Jourdan and Richard Chamberlain, which was kind of a joke of one, to be honest with you. You had Ben-Hur. Someone, I think, in the chat somewhere said Ben-Hur.
Yeah, certain film McCracken.
Right. And the thing is that was a good, good movie. I've never read Ben-Hur, but I can imagine it was done pretty good. I would hope with that translation.
Yeah.
Watership Down had been translated in one form or another into either a movie or an animated movie or whatnot you had in there. And then you start moving into your comics / manga, and how many of those things have been translated into movies in one fashion or another, in style or tone.
Even stuff like, of course, sometimes this stuff is also based on other things like video games and stuff, but it's still considered a movie. I mean, I would tell people, especially if you're a fan of Mortal Kombat, watch the first film. It's just a fun film. It's an enjoyable movie. It makes sense because it just follows what the games were. They went a little crazy with the second movie, and then I haven't watched the other Mortal Kombat films, but I think there's been a few others.
I watched the one that came out a couple of years ago.
Did you like it?
It was one of those movies I had to turn my brain off in order to enjoy it.
Yeah, and see, that's not how I feel in the first one. Like, it's goofy to an extent, but it still follows what the tournament's about. It has some strong acting in it with Raiden and Shang Tsung, and it's that's a tribute to the movie, and it's a quality film, I would say. It's definitely way better than Street Fighter. And Raul Julia was the best thing about that is M. Bison.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he was really the only good part of it. I mean, sorry, but Jean-Claude Van Damme wasn't the one carrying the movie. It was Raul Julia.
Right.
And
what a great actor.
Julia, I loved watching him as Gomez Addams in the Addams Family films.
Right.
Addams Family and Addams Family Values.
Yeah, but and here you are, everyone's saying that Gomez should be some form of Hispanic, right? And they're whining and moaning, and it's like, well, here you had it with Raul from Puerto Rico. And what a great actor. Discovered by Orson Bean, and even till the day he died, Raul Julia was thankful for his discovery by Orson Bean and brought to Americas.
Yeah, I could still remember listening to the radio. I was in my mom's car. We were coming from my grandmother's house, and they came over the radio saying that he passed away.
It's like, no, like John Silver, Ron Silver. I mean, another great actor that was out there, and in so many different roles. I mean, we've lost so many great actors and actresses, and what a singer Raul Julia was.
He was absolutely.
They kept on showing scenes of him on stage doing the Man from La Mancha, and singing the "I am the man from the Mancha," and when he died, and that was always constant, so that always kind of burned into my brain. So I think of Raul Julia, and I think of that musical, Man from La Mancha. And speaking of that, for surrealistic films, Steve Martin had a great one. Probably my favorite Steve Martin film, and that's L.A. Story.
Oh yeah,
very good movie. Very good movie.
Yes.
And people don't know this, but the role that was
Patrick
done
Stewart
by
is in that movie.
Yeah, the maitre d'.
Yep.
Right, and Woody Harrelson, and just all across the board in that film. And then, of course, he took his turn as Cyrano de Bergerac, which, of course, was with Roxanne, which was made famous on screen from the novel by Jose Ferrer back in the 50s or so, which would be a fun one to watch. There's a little-known film also that Orson Welles did called Chimes at Midnight, which was basically taking a bunch of the Faust, plays that Faust was in and Shakespeare, and meld them together into a movie with Orson Welles playing Faust himself. And even the way of doing battles, the big clashes of armies on screen, that rewrote that. And people started using that technique over and over again, all across the board, right up, Braveheart and even more. And whenever you see those two armies clashed together on the no man's land. That was from Orson Welles in his mind.
Yeah.
If you can find it, it's worth a watch. I know it's in black and white. I'm sorry, kids.
Oh no, not black and white.
Oh no, a black and white movie. How dare he recommend a black and white movie? Watch it.
Well,
It doesn't matter.
Was
It doesn't matter if it's black and white or Technicolor.
The Maltese Falcon, I think, is still a quality film.
Yeah.
Casablanca.
Casablanca is an amazing movie, classic film.
One movie I thought was good when I watched it as a kid, and it was when I was getting into the Titanic, was A Night to Remember. I always felt that was a great movie. Not just good, a great movie.
I still think classic movies like North by Northwest, I can watch that movie about 1,000 times, and it's just a fantastic film.
Well, I'm going to throw another Orson Welles film. Okay. Can you imagine Orson Welles with Charlton Heston in the film? Yeah. I just lost the name of the film. Just a second, boys and girls. I can get that. Touch of Evil. Yeah, it's supposed to take place on a border town between the United States and Mexico, and Charlton Heston is supposed to be playing a Hispanic / Mexican from Mexico, and Orson Welles is playing this bloated, evil, bad cop, and he directed it also. And as Charlton Heston sat back and was saying, he was being talked to at the from the people who were trying to get this film put together, and they're having problems finding a director. And Charlton Heston goes, well, Orson Beans, he's a pretty good director. You should have him do it. And voila, there we go. It's funny how things go in that fashion. But and then we start moving to areas like the thrillers, because since that was a thriller, that was in color though. But then you have like Psycho, which is more of a thriller than a horror movie. People don't ever want to listen to say that. Sit back and say about Psycho, oh, that's such a horror film. Listen, only one person died,
right?
Because Mom was already dead. Yeah,
right.
She was already a mummy. And it's like this is not. I would put this in the category of a horror film, but a thriller, because that's what Alfred Hitchcock was more of, is a thriller guy.
Yes,
because you said, of course, North with Northwest, Rear Window.
Yeah, North by Northwest.
The Birds.
Rear Window, the Birds. Yeah,
the Birds. Yeah. Or How Can I Get Debbie Hedren in My Bed? No, I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And he also did Rebecca, based off the book. So he did.
I don't think I've seen that one. I'll have to check that out.
And then he did one film where it was all supposed to be filmed. The whole movie was in real time. So the camera would follow along, but the problem is the film. So he's like almost trying to do a play on a sound stage for a motion picture. I can't remember what the heck movie this was. But the trouble is they only had like about 10 minutes or so of film in a can. So they said the one distracting thing about it is when you kind of got to that 10-minute mark, the camera would start focusing on like a vase where it kind of gets a little blurred. And that's when they switched out the film and then finished moving along and continued on with the scene throughout the whole movie. And granted, movie back then weren't necessarily these huge long epics per se, especially not Hitchcock, but it's still that's kind of a can you imagine doing that?
Yeah, true. And hello to DJ Ronnie G. Yep.
Nerd.
I mean,
nerd.
Wizard of Oz is one of the movies that use both black and white and color.
Right.
And that was unheard of back in the 1930s.
What an amazing movie that is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for many of those films, that and Gone with the Wind, so much of the budget was just having the color film.
Mm-hmm.
Like The Day the Earth Stood Still. Originally, that was going to be a color film, but they couldn't get that into the budget, so it stayed a black and white film.
But I think for The Day the Earth Stood Still, the black and white makes it more poignant,
Right.
more
A
effective.
lot. Mm-hmm. Exactly. I agree with you, but this was also in the era where everybody wanted to have that new trending thing out there. But that trendy thing is, skyrocket. But then we had that follow through though with War of the Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that glorious color that they had with that, and yeah, sometimes you saw the little wires, because the tripods were supposed to be on the energy beams instead of actual legs. But still, I mean, how fantastic that was, as well as the Time Machine with Rod Steiger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, of course, everybody's favorite McDuck was in that film, as well as Wilbur, Alan Young, who played two roles in there. The good friend of the Traveler. Never was named in the book, and they never named him in that movie. He was a good friend of his. And then when he went into the future to like the 40s, he runs into his kid, played by, of course, Alan Young. And so, Alan Young having a double booking on that in that sense. But again, what a magnificent movie. And the Time Machine. Oh God.
I should check and see if either one of those is in public domain. I would love to do a watch party of them.
Yeah. I don't know if they are. That'd be kind of hard to know.
I don't know either, but it's something to look up, something to think about.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. Well, I know there's some stuff that is, but if you really want to go back, and of course this is a silent age, think, of course, the impact of Nosferatu, which in some places still have it listed, never changed over from Dracula. So there are some copies of that movie out there that has, all the names of the characters of the book. And was a pretty good adaptation of the novel. Of course, not they couldn't be as intensive because of what they had. Being that the Dracula other ones with Bela Lugosi and such were based on a stage play, not the book.
Yeah. And
then, of course, you had Metropolis. I mean, considering that film was done in this depression, recession, and economically destroyed Germany, and they were able to pull off probably one of the most expensive films ever made. And I am counting in inflation, because I think it was like $2 million, and it's like, oh boy, that's a lot of money. So you got that.
And think about movies like Frankenstein, makeup techniques that they came up with to create Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm. And you can thank a little bit of that to Lon Chaney Sr. because the Phantom of the Opera he had, and of course Hunchback of Notre Dame, those silent classic films, and so on. So it was like, okay, let's keep this running, and Boris Karloff had to put all that stuff on, and all across the board. And now we get into some controversial movies that are cinematically just beautifully done, and well done films. But the nature of the films are so sticky. And the one film is, of course, A Birth of a Nation, also known as The Klansman. Before they did the change on it, absolute, ist all across the board, because it's involved with the baseball 3 strikeouts, if you know those letters. And our Krusty's comedy classics. There we go. For the people that know The Simpsons a little bit more, because it's like a round crowd. Again, great satire, right? But you look at you look at that film, and I have it. I've seen it, because why? I want to see what was so impressive with the filmmaking and the storytelling. And it's like, yeah, this if it wasn't for the topic, oh my word. Then you got Leni Rosenthal, or is it Leni Rosenthal? I can't remember. When she did her basically not a documentary, but the filming of the Munich gathering with Triumph of the Will. And again, that movie influenced George Lucas. I mean, when you have that final scene in Star Wars where they're going down the hall to get their medals, that's straight out of that film. This nasty, rotten film of National Socialism and Austrians with funny little mustaches. But again, she was such a classic filmmaker and did such a great job under duress. She didn't like the fact that, people like Goebbels and all that were getting involved, and she was playing that game, and she was kind of, okay, I'll do this before she ran off and was able to get out of there. But yeah, again, to the eyes, it's just amazing. The subject matter, shit.
And hello to Angry Canadian. Good to see Angry Canadian.
Ariamagato, eh?
I don't know the time yet. I'm sure we'll find out. But sometime on Tuesday, Cash and I will be broadcasting for Angry Canadian as he and Whoopa play a little Mario Brothers baseball.
Ooh. Swing and a miss. Strike one. Are you gonna have
here's the first pitch in there for a strike. And the ball game is underway.
Now, if you get Bob Euchre doing the voiceover, doing the play-by-play and all that,
I'm just a bit outside. Man, we never seem to get the close ones.
We're gonna be like, oh, do you have the sponsorship? Oh, the hell with it. That's what one of us are probably gonna say at some point.
I'm about as excited as a two-pecker Billy Goat. Can you see that on the air?
Oh man. You can't say goddamn on the air. No one's listening anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
but see that not because I'm a baseball fan, that has nothing to do with it, but Major League, that's such a funny movie.
It is.
The second one's all right.
It's pretty good. The third one, it's like Euchre's still funny in it. It's just you got to let the man. These movies need to all be rated R, but they were like, we want a bigger audience, of course. What else is
new? Yeah. Well, we talk about sports film. Let's go into hockey, and you got Slapshot with Paul Newman, which was kind of like Major League for the ice.
Yeah.
Of course, you have more of a drama like Bang the Drum Slowly with I believe with James Caan and of course Billy D. Williams in that one. What else? Of course, you have Major League. You had, of course, A League of Their Own, and they're one
right.
of the natural.
Not just as films, but like they're really good sports movies. Even ESPN can't deny how good Major League is.
Well, my uncle. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
My uncle once said that, of all the sports out there, the best one to make a movie of is baseball. For some reason, in a motion picture form, that resonates. Now, granted, you do have things like The Longest Yard. I'm referring to, of course, the Burt Reynolds version.
Yeah, the original Longest Yard.
Mm-hmm. You had that First and 10 series on HBO that lasted for many years. It was popular. You had what was that one with Captain Archer, and they had the woman kicker in the team.
With Kathy Ireland, I think was in that.
Yeah, something like that.
Wow,
yeah,
that's a name going back.
Yeah,
with Scott Bakula.
Scott Bakula. Mm-hmm.
What was it called? Shit, I'll go look it up. Forgot.
I know you will. I'll let you do it this time. Sometimes when I start typing things in, my brain starts working, but my brain don't work no well. You can have a good football film, but people seem to, or even a hockey film, and even basketball, and let's talk about rugby. Invictus, which was a rugby, but there was so much more.
So freaking good, man.
Right.
God,
And
I haven't seen that in years. Really,
we won't we won't talk about that one where the plane crashes in the Andes, and this, I believe it was a rugby team, and they started eating those that didn't survive. Yeah,
I don't know.
was it Alive? I think the movie name was Alive or something like that.
Yeah. That's it, Bear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are so many jokes about that.
Wow, that sounds wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an uplifting film. It's only uplifting because they're in the mountains of Peru. I mean, you can't get more up than that.
One movie I've heard is pretty good, but I've never seen it. Is We Are Marshall.
Oh yes, We Are Marshall's really good film.
Mm-hmm.
Very good movie. Disney was actually on a roll for a while. From Miracle, Miracle was a great film.
Right.
The basketball movie, I'm trying to think of it right now. I can't think of it. Where they were talking about this.
Air Bud?
No. No.
That's Ash's favorite sport film, folks.
No, an actor by the name of Josh Lucas was in this film, and I can't think of the name. It was about breaking the color barrier in. I can't remember the name of it, but it was Disney was on. Let's see if I can find it.
But to throw another one in there of Disney, of course, you had the Mighty Ducks films.
Yes, those are still enjoyable films. I would say one's the best, two's pretty good, and three's kind of all over the place, but it still has some charm to it. I'll say that.
And what does Mighty Ducks and Miracle have to do to endear itself to the hearts of Minnesotans out there? I'll let you guess. And love story. I mean, I know it's a love story, but it involved, hockey and ice and all that stuff. That was filmed in Minnesota as well. But
nice.
But I wouldn't necessarily put that in the category of a sports film. Oh, what is the name of that one film? Oh, it was a guy who was in hockey, couldn't play hockey, and he started skating with a figure skater, and she kept on saying toe pick.
My sister and mom used to watch it. Oh,
right.
I'm trying to think of what it was. Oh, gosh.
Because obviously, skating is a sport. Figure skating.
Cutting edge. Cutting edge.
Thank you so very much. Yeah, the cutting edge. There you go. Mm-hmm.
I found it. Glory Road. That's the one I recommend. In 1966, Texas Western coach Don Haskins led the first all-black starting lineup for a college basketball team in the NCAA national championship. Really good film. Really good movie. I highly recommend it.
Basketball used to be all white and all Canadian, eh? Well, that's where it was kind of started. It took the world by storm. But I mean, you even got even golf movies out there. If you want the ridiculous ones,
Tin Cup.
Yes.
Come on, the greatest golf movie of all time, Caddyshack.
Oh, Caddyshack.
No, Caddyshack 2, according to Phil. Bagger Vance. Bagger Vance.
Quality film. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I never could get into golf. I think it's a game that's probably more fun playing it than watching it.
What's the matter, Baron? Why couldn't you get into the golf? Here's Baron Orman Tagge.
Did you ever try to watch
the 16th hole? And he just hit the ball into the trap. That's been the kind of day for Barrett. He's hitting the ball into the trap, or he hits it into the water.
Yeah, there you go. There I am out there doing a John McEnroe, throwing the clubs around.
But we're talking about golf. Come on, Happy Gilmore.
Oh yeah,
Gilmore. I was waiting. I was letting one of you guys do it. I figured.
Happy Gilmore is great. The price is wrong, bitch.
Which shows that Bob Barker did have a sense of humor.
Oh yeah, so funny. You're getting on my nerves, Bob.
Yeah, I mean,
and also Shooter McGavin. Come on,
yes,
everybody. Even though we love to hate him,
yes, great.
And then of course, you had some with the sports film. Of course, you had like the Lou Gehrig story.
Yes. Yeah.
You had the
42 with
I think
Chadwick
40.
Boseman. That
I
was a
think
good
40.
movie.
I really think
Yep.
42 was a good film. Very good movie. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I know people were like, "Oh, the special effects were cheap and this and that." I remember people complaining about that. Some people.
And Harrison Ford as Branch Ritchie.
Yes.
He was good too.
Yep, Branch Rickey. Yep, Branch Rickey.
Yeah.
Which I still feel like Dodger Stadium deserves to have a statue of Branch Rickey and Jackie Robinson holding, shaking each other's hands. Mike, I still believe that should be a thing. I think that should be pushed because without Branch Rickey, Jackie Robinson never comes to the Dodgers. So.
Jackie Robinson never comes to the Dodgers. Ernie Banks never goes to the Cubs.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So. Exactly. And then you have John Goodman as Babe.
Yes. Oh, that was a really good film too. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Tommy Lee Jones being himself in the film Ty Cobb, which wasn't being fair at all to Ty Cobb. Yeah, he was a bit of a pain in the ass, but they really overdid it on him in that film.
Eight Men Out's a great baseball film if you're looking for a great baseball film. You know, Field of Dreams.
And the reason why not to like the White Sox, even though they're called the Black Sox back then. Field of Dreams, yeah.
Yeah.
The Natural. I said Natural.
Yep. The Natural is a really good film. Yep.
Bull Durham.
Yes. Very good movie. Yes.
The Rookie with Dennis Quaid. It's
yes.
based on an actual pitch for
story.
The Tampa Bay Rays. That's a good movie.
Yes.
And that came from Disney when they could put out good movies.
They were putting out really good sports inspirational films before. So I don't know. They need to find a brain again on a lot of this stuff. But yeah, they just missing the mark on a lot of this stuff. I'm sure they could find other inspirational sports films or things that are based on true story that would be interesting. So I don't know if they ever will, but it'd be nice.
I think it's getting harder and harder nowadays to do that because of how professional sports has just gone into the gutter. You know?
To some extent, it has been tainted. To some extent, it has been definitely tainted, just like all sports. But yeah, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, well, exactly. But the thing is why we remember all these so fondly, no matter what, even if you don't necessarily even like the sport, because
you're right.
These are great dramas. I mean, and comedies or comedy dramas, or it doesn't matter. And in some ways, they do touch into it, especially when you have that Americana, and I mean Americana across all ages too.
Yes.
You remember going out and watching the game at night, or you remember going out in the fields to watch football with your high school? Or now, I have a confession. The first time I ever went to a high school football game, I was in my 40s.
It's all good.
Yeah. Because I didn't care about that. Yeah. I didn't care about it, but I visited the farm, and the one grandkid of my uncle and aunt was playing, and she was all bonkers and obsessed about it. So we went out there and we watched the game. It was fun. And it's like, hey, whatever.
Well,
where's the rugby team?
Right. That's funny. Well, I mean, I miss things like Little Big League and Rookie of the Year. Like, those movies are still enjoyable, even now.
Pitcher's got a big butt. Pitcher's got a big butt.
Yeah. Well, how about The Sandlot?
Yes.
That's stickball. But that's how many
throw like a girl.
Mm-hmm.
I still think Remember the Titans, of course, is still a really good movie. Based on a true story.
Radio.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, Radio, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's just so much about that that we have for those films, and and Lost and underrated, and people don't think about it because it kind of gets thrown into the shuffle until you get three of us out there talking about all the. Yeah, remember back in the day when they used to have pot pies and 10 pot things, and I could put it in the oven and not the microwave.
Yeah. Well, let's make it a part of the show. You would rent a movie from the video store, and I can't say a lot of us had a video store that was right down the street from us. Some of us did, some of us didn't. But that's what you would do. You would rent a movie. You come home. Either your family would cook the movie, or you'd eat a Swanson's TV dinner, and it was in the aluminum pan.
Right. Well, sometimes we'd go down to Little Caesars when Little Caesars was actually good, and it was pizza, buy one get one.
Yeah,
and it's like, how do you?
We used to go down to the video store that's just down the street from our house in a little shopping center. Excuse me, where you had the liquor store. Of course, they sold candy and soda in the liquor store too. So it wasn't like I couldn't go in there. I could, as long as I was getting the soda or the candy. But we would go to the video store, and we would rent a movie. One night we rented My Blue Heaven with Steve Martin and Rick Moranis.
Oh yeah,
if you guys haven't seen it.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, but we would go to this place called Sereno's. It was an Italian restaurant, and we would either get pizza. Sometimes we'd bring home their spaghetti. I mean, their Tuesday nights it was spaghetti night. Oh, that was so good. That was so good. I could still remember it to this day. But that's what we do. We go get a pizza or spaghetti or whatever, and we would bring it home. A lot of times we would just, walk there and then walk back because our house was right down the street. But it was fun. Going to the video store and renting movies, checking out movies you've never seen before. I mean, when I flew out to California after moving from California to go see my grandmother, excuse me, and some friends, I can remember my friends and I going into Blockbuster and also a Hollywood Video because they had accounts at both places and renting movies, and that's what we did.
Yeah.
One of the first nights I was there at their house was just watch movies.
Yeah, Hollywood Video, Blockbuster we had in our area, and then and then you had your mom and pop joints, which kind of the Hollywood Video was kind of that way that we had. I think it was called. Yeah, it was just like, a little spot in the strip mall, but boy, you spend hours sometimes trying to pick that freaking film. But that's where you're in the things
Steve,
like
we would cook the movie. We would watch the Swanson's TV dinner and cook the movie. Smart.
You did say you did say cook the movie, buddy. I was letting it slip. But T-Gap was there.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
you know what? Sometimes we would cook the movie. It'd be like, oh, this movie's so bad. You start razzing on it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Riffing, of course, what inspired,
Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Dude, and, of course, Riff Tracks and Cinema Titanic and amongst others. Even Elvira.
But I mean, as much as I like watching Little Shop of Horrors with Rick Moranis, I would still make fun of that movie too.
Oh yeah, and we did it with love sometimes. It's like, it's like it was all part of that. Let's have a little fun with our with those movies. But the one thing that's great about that video store is it gave movies either a second life or it gave it a life. I mean, without those video stores, I mean, some of them were still bad, but they're bad good. And like DEFCON 4 was one of those movies like that. But then you had those gyms like Transers. That's like, wow, the Beastmaster got second life in there. Of course, needless to say,
Austin Powers got a second life because of video rentals.
Stuff like the Black Hole, I'm sure, got second life as well.
So it was the matter that thanks to those video stores, things were opened up, including classics that no one were necessarily seeing anymore. It's like, hey, what's this all about? Okay, here we go. Let's watch it. Yes. And thank God for the video store. A lot better than the damn streaming services, that's for sure.
Yes,
because you got a lot more variety in a video store. Even with just one copy. Yes. I mean, I tell you, there was this little, shack of a video store on Penn, and we went to, and that's where we got Faces of Death 1, 2, and 3. And I don't think 4 was out yet, but it's like for us kids, it's like, oh yeah, let's watch this. We hear all about this film and all that, and it's like Robot Jock. Actually, I did see RoboJocks. Was it on the Sci-Fi channel? I can't remember. Or was it on cable? I can't remember, but I know I got it from like something other than a tape. I know that much. Which is a good film. It's a good film.
And we make fun of how many Starbucks are on the corner now, but remember back in the 80s and 90s, video stores were like that. You'd have one popping up everywhere in your neighborhood or in your town.
And the thing is, I'd be more than happy to go back to those days because I'd rather see video stores than Starbucks or Caribou's or whatever. Oh yeah, and throw some Mr. Donuts in there while you're at it.
Yeah, and what's funny was some of these movies that we all would rent. I'm sure a lot of us would rent the same movie over and over again because we didn't get tired of it.
Well, you either rent it, of course, or you just bought it on VHS, like whatever you wanted to do. And I mean, my dad still has a collection of VHS movies.
I do too. Yeah. I do too.
I do too. It's not a huge one.
I have a VCR I can play them in too, and it still works.
Yeah.
The one problem is though, back in that day, is for a long time those films would be so overpriced because they're meant for the video stores.
Right.
So, and that was the only way you get it. So you could go home and hope, if you had 2 VHSs, boom, you could make a copy to keep for your own, or wait until they weren't as popular no more and the price went down, or you could get in the video, when you walk to the place that say used movies, you could get it out of there. I mean, I still remember Star Trek 4 was still reasonably priced when it came out on VHS.
Yes.
Yep, Star Trek 5 and Star Trek 6.
They also had sales too.
My teacher was a Star Trek fan, and that's how I got to see Star Trek 4.
I think places like Blockbuster also you could buy VHS, not just rent them.
You could. Yeah, you could buy VHS. You could buy games, especially if they were not going to be renting out those games anymore, like for the NES or Super NES, Genesis, because they were going more toward PlayStation.
Right.
And also the N64. That's how I got my copy of Insurrection on VHS. Went into a Blockbuster in the town I grew up with. In 99, when I was out there to visit my friends and grandmother, we go into Blockbuster. I saw that Insurrection was there. I'm picking it up. They're selling it for a decent price, so I'm picking it up.
Yeah.
That's exactly
I'm surprised.
We had no qualms. We had no qualms about it.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, I'm surprised none of us have brought up the Rambo films yet.
Gosh, it's been so long.
First Blood is still good. First Blood is still good.
Right.
I'll have to watch
that. And then Dirk Benedict was in a kind of a carbon copy one called Rampage off of that film. And then, of course, I thought Rambo 2. Actually, it was one of our date night movies with my high school girlfriend. We went to see Rambo 2 in the theater. Oh, boy, did she have a kind soul. But, then that one, 3 was okay. And I kind of lost whatever off. But, yeah, your Rambos, your, then you had like a Commando.
Yeah.
Remember I told you die last, Sully? Yeah, I lied.
I mean, think about it. Back in the 80s and 90s, we all liked watching Sylvester Stallone and Arnold. Yeah, come on. I got a new movie out. Come on, you got to watch it. Hey, yo, I got a new movie. You got to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, those two were like the king, and especially Arnold in there. And then, of course, then he started getting people like Jean-Claude Van Damme getting in there. A little bit of Dolph Lundgren was starting to get in there, but not nearly close to the star power of Arnold and all that. But it ushered in such great, sometimes cheese fest films. It's the ultimate popcorn films. It's Chuck Norris started having a string of movies he was putting out. Invasion USA, and I'm trying to remember the one where he went back to Vietnam. The series he did with that one, trying to get the veterans back. And of course, the show that inspired his Texas, Walker Texas Ranger.
Yeah.
And that was and that movie was Jimmy Crickets. I hate this when that brain goes. Thank you, Cash. You blew it on me. Lone Wolf McQuade. In fact, Lone Wolf McQuade would have been the series, but there was copyright issues. So they just kind of made a knockoff, you might say, for TV.
Tagge mentions Delta Force, yeah.
Delta Force. Oh, that is a great cheese fest movie. Don't take anything about that film serious. It firmly has tongue in cheek, and I think a lot of people didn't get it when they saw that film for the first time. And Barry Boswick would even sit back saying, "Man, I don't even know what the hell we were doing in the movie. I was so stoned through the whole thing." But of course, it had Persis Kambata in it with hair, and had Devon from Knight Rider in that film as well. I hate to say I got a mental block on his name because I've been having a lot of names coming through this poor, strained out brain of mine. I'm amazed I can even do what I'm doing right now. But yeah, Delta Force, which of course, Delta Farce we got later on. Fun, crazy, stupid film. Don't let him in, by the way. Don't let him in.
I'm gonna let it. No, I'm gonna let him in. I'm going to let him in. I'm going to let him in.
I have a bigger feud with them than I do with Cash.
Anonymous. What's wrong with me?
Hey,
I got nothing wrong with you.
Live from his wife's she shed. It's Adamas, also known as Movie Moss.
Movie Moss. How you doing, folks?
Living Moss.
Doing good. Tonight we're just having a casual discussion on our favorite movies and television shows, including guilty pleasures.
Yeah, we all have those.
Mm-hmm. And of course, so good old T-Gap, he's starting to go into those 80 horror, Stephen King. There's a car coming at me. Look out! Boom! Ow!
No, Firewalker was a Louis Gossett Jr. and
Drew Barrymore.
No, Drew Barrymore.
Oh, Firewalker. I was thinking Firestarter. Wasn't it? No, not Richard Chamberlain. He wasn't in that one. He was in Alan Quartermain movies.
Oh, Wolf McQuade. You just said his name.
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris, yes.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris and Lou Gossett
that's
Jr.
Your fault. That's your fault. I guess that.
But yeah. Oh yeah, Firewalker was a lower budget kind of. It was a fun movie, as far as I remember. I love Louis Gossett Jr. So.
Just like Romancing the Stone in a sequel, and of course, like I said, the Alan Quartermain series, which of course had James Earl Jones with Richard Chamberlain as well in there.
Another great movie of Louis Gossett Jr. was An Officer and a Gentleman.
Yeah.
Really
didn't that get him an Academy Award? I know he was at least nominated, but wasn't he? Didn't he get one for that?
One of them got an Academy Award. Hopefully it was Junior.
Yeah, I mean, I thought because of his, of course, I was just going to say it, but T-Gap Steve was impolite and beat me to it. Iron Eagle, he was in, along with Tim Thomerson, who was also in Transers and Quark, the TV show, and many other things.
I think
I'm just saying T-Gap. Enemy Mine. Oh,
Enemy
Dennis
Mine is one of my
Quaid, Louis
favorites.
Gossett Jr.
Great
Oh,
movie. Great movie.
That movie you were talking about with Scott Bakula, Unnecessary Roughness.
thank you
Oh,
so
yeah.
much. And do you know what movie Enemy Mine was based off of?
No.
It's
You
a
don't.
old story. It's like been told a million times, but
Well, yeah, but the one movie before
I
that was
can't remember
Robinson
the- yeah.
Crusoe on Mars.
Yeah.
Robin Crusoe on Mars,
there you go.
which is a good film for despite what you're thinking with that name. But yeah, it's the same thing. You crash, the enemy's there, and you have to get along with the enemy type thing.
Yep.
And yeah, it's been used for many other things all across the board before that. But that one particularly, though, was lifted from that movie.
Yeah, there was one.
I
I
didn't
can't
even
remember the
tempted to
name
grab
of
my
it.
Star Logs behind me. What now?
There was one with a Japanese soldier and an American soldier trapped on an island. Basically, the same
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever see that old movie From Here to Eternity? It's a really good film.
Not all the way through.
I never
Frank
never heard
Sinatra,
of it.
highly recommend it.
No, never heard of it. No, Frank Sinatra? Huh?
He's in that.
From Here to Eternity? What that?
Mhm.
Never heard of that film. I mean, I saw a film where a couple were making love on the beach as the waves were coming in. They're kissing and all that, and the great romantic scene like that. Yeah. From Here to Eternity, yeah, and that scene was controversial in the day and was made fun of by. I think it was in one of the. Was it in the Police Squad movies, Naked Gun movies? I mean,
Oh yeah, they probably did make fun of that. Yeah.
well, they made fun of everything.
Yes,
they
they
made fun
do.
of everything. Mhm.
Well,
I mean-
getting back to funny movies, the original Police Academy. I still think that movie is funny to this day.
Oh, it is.
It is. All three
was
of
it?
them are funny, but I think the first
The-
one's the best.
The Blue Oyster? Was it the Blue Oyster?
That
Yeah,
was
Blue Oyster Club.
Police
Yeah.
Academy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can sit back and say the first two I thought were very good, and the third was passable, then it starts going downhill. The
Yeah.
only thing that was worth watching for was, of course, the tall blonde.
Leslie Easterbrook.
Leslie, yes, Easterbrook, right. I had the Leslie part, but I wasn't getting that last name. It's like, no, it's not
Girls
Easterbrook.
Cooties. I was in it for the comedy.
Well, yeah, and of course now you're starting to talk about.
I liked Michael Winslow being able
Yes.
to make all those different sounds.
Mhm.
And he just starts making sound in the
Excuse me,
office.
sir. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah. Well, when he made the sound of the machine gun going off in the in the jailhouse there, and everyone ducks cover, the guy comes around. Now, quit doing that.
It's great. Yeah.
I mean, and the follow through line was made it even funnier. I was like, this isn't even the first time.
And then he makes that cameo in Spaceballs.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Got the bleeps, creeps, and sweeps.
Mm-hmm. And he still does stuff to this day with that.
Yeah, he does. He was doing stuff with Triumph the dog recently, I guess. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, so yeah.
Human sound effect.
The human sound effect. I mean, he was really great with what he was doing in there. And then, of course, whatever happened to Steve Guttenberg? Who made Steve Guttenberg
I don't know.
star?
It's like a lot of these people, even after they have a career for a little while, they just vanish. It's just it's never a sure thing. So yeah,
that's where Hollywood spits. He chews them up and spits them out. I
They
think.
do. They do.
Yeah,
they really do.
You're not sellable, baby. You're not sellable.
He was though. He was in so many films and was sellable. That's why it's so odd. But you know what I blame? I blame my super wrench, John Rendell, because he is in the Lodge. And I think it was his job to try and making him a star. And he fell down on the job. He fell on the job. So I think he's keeping the aliens. Yeah, I know. I think he's keeping the aliens under wrap. So that's what he's doing now. but yeah, I mean, well, look at Steve Gutenberg. Of course, we're talking about what he was in like 4 of the Police Academy movies before he moved on.
Yeah,
he was in 3 Men and a Baby, and of course the sequel,
Yeah, he
3
was
Men
good
and a
in
Little
that.
Lady. He
Yeah,
was in Cocoon.
Sorry,
And Cocoon, I think Cocoon 2, right?
Mhm.
And wasn't he also in Short Circuit?
Short Circuit, yes. Short Circuit.
Yeah,
Right. I mean,
God, I haven't seen that in years.
the original Short Circuit's great. The sequel,
they go,
A lot of it's always been usually the same, like sequels, and then of course when you get the remake, and then you get a sequel afterwards, and you're just like, oh my gosh, why?
It's like of the live action Ninja Turtle movies. I still like the first one out of them all.
Yes, the first and the second ones are fine. I've been told I need to stay away from the third one.
You do.
Watched
You
it.
do.
It's not the best. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a
and
little
then, like,
cheaper.
the Michael Bay stuff, it's like, what? So the turtles are on steroids now? Like, what the fuck's going on here? It's ridiculous.
That's right, brother. I'm Leonardo, brother. This is Michelangelo. Yeah, dudes.
Seriously, man. What did they take? What's in that sewer now? What's in that ooze?
You don't want to know. You don't want to know. You do not want to know.
Yeah.
I don't want to know. No, it's DJ Ronnie G that likes turtles. I like turtles.
I like turtles. Yeah, he does. Yeah. No, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, I grew up with that. I mean, the cartoon. Watch it before school, then go to school. Watch it later. Yeah.
See, if it came out when I was in the comic books, I'd have the comic book. But no, too early.
But yeah, I mean, even that newest Turtles movie, like Crit said, oh, it's pretty good. I can't push myself to watch it. I just refuse. I'm like, nope, not gonna do it.
The cartoon one where everybody no.
I just can't do it.
Well, it's kind of funny.
The one that came out last year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, which one?
Was that Mutant Mayhem? I think that was the newest one.
Yeah, that was.
Is it that one with the Black April? Or like was that a TV show where it had the other turtles? I don't remember. There's
a TV show called Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Right.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. Or one of them looked like a little kid or something.
It's so crazy to me that James Avery was Shredder for a few seasons. It's so awesome. He made a great Shredder. I mean, who knew that?
He did.
Man just so. Not just Uncle Phil, but I mean, that guy was even on Broadway before he passed away. He's just very talented man.
Well, he was even a cleaner on Enterprise.
That's right. He was. Yeah, he was
because he had originally auditioned for Worf.
Right.
That's awesome. He would have made a quality Worf, I'm sure.
The one thing I think we need to go back at too. I think he would have. I think he would have. Yeah.
Imagine James Avery and Troy getting it on.
Yeah. Right.
I just don't see it.
That's what she said.
Kick him.
But but I think as we're talking about this, I think we need to go back to what helped start all this. And that was the old, like the Republic serials and such, where you had, of course, the Flash Gordon, the Buck Rogers. Saturday morning serials. You had, of course, Radar Minute from the Moon. You had, of course, your Batman serials, your Shadow serials. You even had a Batman film back then. 89 was and 66 were not the first Batman films.
No,
you didn't have one like in the 40s, I think. I can't remember. And the same thing with the Shadow. There was at least, I think, 3 Shadow movies that came off of that serial. And of course, Tarzan and all these others that that inspired people like Lucas, inspired people like Straczynski, inspired people like Steven Spielberg. Because that was their escape Saturday morning TV, many of them. And
it's like a lot of Tarzan.
Because they were still playing those things in the 50s and such like that, or on a television. So you know, we can't leave those out for what brought us back. And, you know, despite of obviously, you know, the learning techniques of doing some special effects of the day, low budgets and such, they really aren't that bad, which is why they stuck around with us for so long.
Yeah, they aren't. I mean,
Of
look
course.
at how many Westerns were made. I mean, a ton.
Mhm. Right.
Some are better than others, just like anything, but yeah.
Right.
The Western was the boomer man soap opera.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
That's all my dad watched was Rawhide and Wagon Train and Bonanza and all those the Rifleman,
Maverick.
Gun will travel, reads a card of a man.
Paladin and
a knight without armor in a savage land. Yeah, I mean, what a great show that was.
Wild Wild West.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sci-fi Western. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, ba-da-dum, bum,
that was good. See, I like that one even more because it had a little had some more like futuristic stuff in it too. So it was
right,
like,
yeah, it was
tailored for me a little bit. I like the Western, so it's just a little bit for the younger generation.
Right. And there
you got great ones like The Shootist with John Wayne. That's a really good one.
Oh yeah.
True Grit. Even the remake was really good. Like the Coen brothers wanted to make sure that they changed a little bit, but it was still really good. It was one of the better remakes that's ever come out, in my opinion.
But see, that's the thing. I like the original True Grit, and I also like the remake. Same with 310 to Yuma. I like the original 310 to Yuma and the remake.
But of course, you got to take a look at the, of course, the Shootist and the volume of work at, well, howdy there, Pilgrim. But you can't forget
Pilgrim.
Clint Eastwood with, Hang 'em High. Gone to Texas, also known as Outlaw Josie Wales. Of course,
The Bad and the Ugly, Unforgiven.
The spaghetti films, yes, Unforgiven.
Yes.
Right. I mean, you take a look at all those, even in the 80s when they did like Silverado in the mid 80s. I mean, they were still trying to keep that Western alive in those times, and they were doing with some good films. You couldn't get by that. And of course, you had your orders back in the day. You had Roy Rogers and Dale Evans. You even had them doing cowboy serials. You had our Western or whatever you want to call it. You had the Theatrical Kid out there doing his thing, and you want to kind of go before United States got over to California. You had El Zorro, fighting. I mean,
another Western. I don't think any of us have mentioned yet is Shane.
Oh, Shane is great. Shane, but still,
come back, Shane.
Come back, Shane. Yeah, great movie.
Well, what about Psycho Dad?
No, kid, you're ugly. I don't want nothing to do with you.
Psycho Dad, Psycho Dad, Psycho Dad.
Well, fine. Let's get back to talking about comedies. Married as Children. I mean, that went on for what, 9 seasons? 11?
No, man.
11? I think it was 11. Was it 11? I think it might have been 11.
It went 11 years. Yeah, the same amount of time as Modern Family. So Ed O'Neill has had 11 years.
He's had a great
almost straight. Yeah.
Yes.
And of course, everyone was bemoaning it and saying how great Roseanne was compared to it. Excuse me, Roseanne was doing this stuff after Married with Children.
What the hell you say?
And not only that, they had some people that was on Married with Children that went over to Roseanne and started doing it. So while they're downtrodden Married with Children, they're high praising Roseanne. By the way, I saw something today. It did hackle my height a little bit. This is about the only thing I'm going to do something like this tonight.
You know what really grinds my gears?
But John Goodman, of all people, right? John Goodman, what was the thing that really shot him to star at them? It was Roseanne. right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Amongst many other people that were on that
the
show.
Best thing, right? Yes, I mean it did
Right.
have a solid cast, but yes,
Right.
John
With
Goodman
Rose,
is
with
definitely one of the best things about it.
So, and who helped bring it all together? Of course, Roseanne, amongst other people, right? So they had a little thing about I saw on the Micro Squish thing earlier today, and they're talking about Roseanne and the Connors and how everything is, and how we about love, respect, and all that stuff with it was a set and all that. It's like, oh, like he did to Roseanne.
Yeah.
Do you stand up for her? Do you show her any love? Because if it wasn't for her, you wouldn't be where you are.
John Goodman had defended
You don't
her,
get canceled.
has always defended her, and I don't know if that's changed, but he's always defended her. So
yeah,
when those comments came out,
when
those comments came out, he was one of the people who did defend her and said that Roseanne was a good person. I don't know if he still feels that way. I don't think Roseanne's he did though. Yes, he was not
that's
gonna.
good.
Yeah, no. John Goodman seems like a good dude. I don't know. I've never
He
met
still
him.
stayed on the show.
Oh, shut up, Donnie.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what happens, Larry, when you fuck a stranger in the ass? That's what happens.
He did, and they added Katie Seagal and so on. So I mean, I just don't have any really desire to watch the Connors. I was never a big Roseanne fan, anyways.
I wasn't.
I like John.
I like Married with Children more.
Yes.
Well, yeah,
I was a Roseanne fan because she was like my world. That's the type of people that was in my world growing up.
Right.
So that her show spoke to me more than Married with Children did.
I hate to say Married with Children was more like that in my world.
Right.
Well, each their own, man. But yeah, that's fine. And Married with Children was good. I liked it. And I laughed my butt off. But
yeah, it was funny.
Well, yeah, Roseanne was something else.
Yeah, they went after a lot of different topics. Even shows like getting later into like the Jamie Foxx show. You listen to these jokes now, and you're like, oh, would they even try to make them? Like, it's just funny. And they just wouldn't. Like, even the early 2000s, like there was just funny comedies. And Jamie Foxx show, I understand people like Living Single and stuff. That's not one of my favorites. Or Martin, I think, is a good show, but still wasn't one of my favorites. But stuff like the Jamie Foxx show still cracks me up. It's just funny. The situations, the hotel, everything about that show is just funny. And they get into some serious issues too. And we don't have a lot of that anymore, as we talked about, which is really disappointing. That they don't care about these things anymore, which I wish they would. Because it would be great.
Even comedy isn't like it used to be anymore.
No,
I mean, we can all remember at some point in our lives where they were teenagers, young adults, watching In Living Color.
Yes, very
and
funny
laughing
show.
our asses off.
Yes. Even the D.L. Hughley show, like they wouldn't. Even he's changed. Like it's so funny considering what he is now and how crazy he is about politics. I haven't paid attention to him in at least more than a few years, but the D.L. Hughley show was funny. The Pat Moreno popped up on an episode. I think a few episodes, he was his neighbor. It was funny. Like the situations are funny. They took shots at all kinds of things. They just they can't do that much anymore. Sometimes there's shows out there that do South Park.
They won't do that
does.
anymore.
No.
That's the thing. They won't.
They won't. And it's very disappointing. But these shows used to just take shots at everything, even Living Single. There's those things that they would say 227. They probably wouldn't even say those things.
Good Times. That was a great show.
Yeah. Florida. Did you guys ever see that that clip they did on Family Guy? Florida, that's the name of a state. And then he goes, Dynamite.
Well, what about what's happening and what's happening now?
Yes.
Yeah. Give Me a Break. I love that show. And
yeah.
It's unfortunate that
Nell Carter. Yes.
You lose Nell Carter and the actor who played the father. And
well, the show was being done too. So I mean,
yeah.
It's going to sound funny, but Charles in Charge, I thought, was a good show.
It was a fun show. I still don't know how to feel about that whole Scott Baio situation. Did it happen? Did it not happen? But yeah,
I think there's a lot of BS me too on that one. But what I loved the most about that show was the show that Peter Griffin was singing when the guy jumped the fence and went after George Harrison. See, we know stuff here, folks.
That's right. Well, even like Coach was a really good show with Craig T. Nelson. Really good cast too.
And
stuff
again,
like Taxi. Was it Taxi?
Oh, Taxi was excellent.
Taxi was an awesome show.
Yeah, it was. Basically, you can sit
Dear
back
John,
and say,
Dear John, man, great show too. Yeah.
And of course, you know that Coach endears itself to people over here because where was it set?
Minnesota.
Yes.
Minnesota.
Yeah, I have to make sure I talk about my Minnesota. You know, I gotta get that quoted. Kind of like Canada, you have to put so much Canadian content into a show.
Yep.
But
Well,
I mean,
you know, you speak of Canadians, and, you know, comedy. You know, Kids in the Hall. I'm crushing your head. I am crushing your head.
Probably ahead of its time, actually. Yeah. Just like A Living Color was ahead of its time, definitely.
It was.
Oh man, freaking! That's what I loved about A Living Color was like it was very diverse. I said the D word. But,
yeah, no, it was. Yeah.
It was.
TV was ahead of its time too.
Oh no,
I mean, a lot of
we had diversity back in the 80s.
Right.
Oh my gosh!
I know exactly.
Well, yeah, we did, and you take a look at it even more so. Yeah, granted, it was I believe on Showtime, but you had that show called Brothers, which had a story about three brothers. The youngest one coming out as homosexual, but they didn't make a big deal about it. But Charles Mackenzie Phillips or Philip McKenzie, I can't remember what his name was, but he was the basically the flamboyant one, friend of his. And you can't say that's stereotyping because we all know we've met the flamboyants out there. Okay, but there was showing they all weren't because that younger brother you'd never know. Then you had on, of course, the cables. You had the Gary Shandling show. This is a theme, the Gary show, the opening theme, the Gary show. Gary called me up and asked if I could do his theme song. Yeah. And Bizarre on Showtime. I think I sent a clip to you guys in our private chat. Some of the best of Bizarre, if you know what I mean, and why we watched it back in that day. We had, I'm just thinking, of course, First and 10 was on cable.
Was another quality show. Perfect Strangers, of course.
Oh, Perfect Strangers.
Family Guy was, I would say, the spinoff of it because, of course, was it Carl?
Man.
Yeah, I think it was Carl who popped up.
No,
yeah. Wasn't it?
No, it was.
It was Harriet.
Wife,
It was Harriet. That's right. Thank you. So, excuse me. Yeah, Harriet. That's right.
Yeah, and then I loved Family Matters there for a while. I stuck with it, but my gosh, I mean, I think personally, Family Matters is just a more enjoyable show than Full House. Full House. Yeah, Full House was pretty.
Full House was pretty good
sugary.
for the first few seasons, and it got sugary. I like that. That's
yeah.
To put it.
That's what turned me away. But my sister loved watching Full House.
Yeah, we watched it all the time, but yeah, it was as wholesome family show as you could get without turning into a religious show.
Yes.
I think the thing that stopped me a lot from watching that lineup because it was, it was Friday night ABC Family Time.
Yep.
Was a lot of stuff was happening on the Sci-Fi channel at the same time, and that's where I gravitated to. Like Lex, going with of course Stargate, and what was the other one that was showing on? Oh, Farscape, and Stargate. And,
Yep. Do you guys remember on ABC Dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Yes.
Dinosaurs.
Not the mama. Not the mama.
Not the cash. Not the cash.
Not the bear.
Or we talked about some Nickelodeon shows earlier, but we haven't even mentioned Ren and Stimpy. Stimpy, you idiot!
You idiot!
Yeah.
And you know what the big problem about that show was? Cinnamon Toast Man. But bad thing about that though,
Powder Toast Man. Powder Toast Man.
Powder Toast Man. I'm sorry. What the bad thing is, of course, all that was under MTV Network. What do? A show that's clearly an adult show. They throw it on like 6 o'clock on Nickelodeon for kids to watch. It's like, what?
Yeah.
What the hell, man? What the hell?
That's right. I said, I ain't giving you no $3.50, you goddamn Loch Ness monster. Get your own goddamn money. I gave him a
happy, joy. Happy,
joy, joy.
Stinky Teats. I know that. I remember that part. I can't remember the full name, but Stinky Teats. Yeah. And that was a phenomenon during the day. And John Kay, bit of a unique individual, you might say.
Yeah.
He has obsession with butt. That's all I gotta say. One of the problems, though, it seems like the comedy today is all about sex and poop.
Sex and poop, right? It's all about like that's what they consider only crude humor. Yes, a lot of
right. And you had so much of that with Big Bang Theory. Coitus, and it's like after a while it gets tiring. I don't want to. I don't want to watch a show where the big thing is pooping and having sex, not necessarily in that order, or not necessarily separate time either. It's like, well, but we won't go there. Stinky weasel teeth, stinky weasel teeth.
yeah.
Happy.
Or watching Rocco's Modern Life.
Oh, honey, it's Rocco.
Mm-hmm.
What? Nobody here watched Rocco's Modern Life? Come on, somebody here had to.
I didn't actually, but then again, you're talking about the age difference here because I'm an old guy here. I'm an old guy. I'm so old.
I did when I had to watch some neighbors' kids, so I found it amusing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what was that one? What was that one about the duck that had Jason Alexander doing the voice?
Duckman.
Mm-hmm.
Private detective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right.
I don't know if you noticed like the decline in animation, especially for kids
because it's like, oh, did you guys see Rick and Morty? Let's emulate that. What? No,
and not even
it's the animation. It's like, no, not everything needs to look like Bob's Burgers and stuff. Like, I don't exactly hate that animation, but I don't think it's right either.
No, and the thing is that started coming out because all these people wanted to start throwing out all their animation, but they don't have animation skills. So they started coming up with a BS saying, oh, you don't have to have great animation. It's just a good story and laugh and cruise. And that's where we started getting that.
Blobs of, color. And then boom, you got an animation or you got a cartoon.
Yeah.
Right.
Steven Universe or, what was that stupid kid with the nipples?
Kid with the nipples.
It was a weird, stinking cartoon. He never took his shirt off. He had these big old nipples.
No, I don't.
Dang it! It's like a cat or something. I can't remember.
Dog cat or
no? Let me look it up.
I don't know. I want shows like Garfield and Friends again.
I want good animation.
Inspector Gadget, Speed Racer, I mean, just like the afternoon cartoons like Disney used to have, Tailspin, excuse me, DuckTales, Rescue Rangers. I think there was another one in there, but I can't.
And did you ever notice the Chip and
Duck, of course? Yeah.
And do you notice you notice the thing about Chip and Dale in that Rescue Rangers?
Not sure.
One is dressed like Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah, Indiana Jones. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's right. That's a good point. Yes, I like that. Yeah, it's clever. Yeah, those were cool shows, especially DuckTales. I mean, I could watch that, especially when they had that 6-parter on. You're a little kid and whatever. You're it's like, oh, I can't wait to watch this with the Gizmo Duck stuff. It's just well written shows, man. Just
right.
Always coming up with cool stuff and being like, and not just stopping and stuff like, and even like I said before, even the remake, like they did a lot of things right with that. They did mention climate change one time, which was really odd, but it didn't really go anywhere with that. They like high-fived or something. One of the characters, it was kind of funny, but I was like, what? But overall, they still kept to what DuckTales is.
Right.
And that's what I think, if a lot of people would just do that, Doctor Who, other things, they kept to what these shows are supposed to be, I think the ratings would still be very good.
And come on, Cash, you can't fool anybody. Captain Planet and the Planeteers was your favorite cartoon.
Oh, you know what? It wasn't really, but it wasn't. It was goofy, but it did make its point. Captain Planet.
And the Planeteers. Yeah.
Gonna take pollution down to zero.
Yeah, good old Ted Turner. Yeah, it's a Ted Turner joint, man.
Oh, is it? Well,
is that how the kids talk now? Is that the cool way of saying it? The Ted Turner joint?
Did you ever
like that Christopher Lee does with the the Jungle Fever film and all that? Yeah.
Did you ever watch? I don't know if you probably ever watched this, but did you ever watch a cartoon called Toxic Crusaders? They're gross.
Oh hell yeah! It was.
It was funny. Yeah, it was, but it was clever. I'll give them that. It was clever. You know, of course.
Well, what about Captain
Albert? Fat Albert probably couldn't even.
What do you say, Fat Albert? He's on the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
What about the Captain Simeon and the Space Monkeys?
I know of that, but I don't.
Yeah, Jerry Doyle was voiced the lead character, and then of course you had Malcolm McDowell in there. You had, of course, Chancellor Gowron, Mental Block on
Robert O'Reilly.
O'Reilly. Not Robert O'Reilly. From Star Trek 6 and Star Trek 5 and Time After Time. Just passed away just recently. Great movie.
What, David Warner?
Yeah, thank you.
Chowder. That's the freaking.
But I mean, you had that one in there, and then you had Bucky O'Hare, which was another strange one. Where you got the rabbit and his gang going around space. Earthworm Jim.
Earthworm Jim.
What about Freakazoid?
Yeah.
Freakazoid.
Still a fun show.
But let's not forget the famous line from Earthworm Jim when the villain got played. Maximum suckage.
Oh yeah.
Anybody watch The Tick? Spoon.
Oh come on. Oh, that's a loaded question. Spoon. Mm-hmm. And the live action I watched, the first live action. I haven't really watched the Amazon one.
I need to watch The Tick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was originally
the live action ones. Yeah,
the live action one. Yeah,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I never got it back when it came out, so I couldn't watch it. But I need to go back and watch it.
It was satirizing, basically all your superhero tropes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you had Die Fledermaus. Well, yeah, of course, American made. It doesn't take much to figure out who they're making fun of there.
You guys remember stuff like Mighty Mouse? Obviously, we've talked about Popeye.
Here I come to save the day.
Which John Cade,
Mighty Mouse was next best thing.
Yeah, which John Cade did in the 80s, 90s, that Minnie Mouse. And one of his villains they had to take down was William Shatner's toupee.
Wait, Minnie Mouse? Don't you mean Mighty Mouse?
I said Mighty Mouse, I thought.
No, you said Minnie Mouse, just like earlier when I said, we would cook the movies.
He's old, Mike. He's old.
Hey! You guys picked on me. I'm picking on you right back.
I never made fun of you once in this broadcast, Mike. I said I was being nice. Nerd! Yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's his favorite, and Gamera. That's his favorite. Godzilla.
Gamera, yeah, he's my boy.
Mm-hmm. Rides him to work every morning.
Well, no wonder he gets to work
crack his
on
legs
time.
and push out the jet engines.
Jet engines are cool. Yeah.
How you
But,
doing tonight, DJ?
Doing pretty good. I wanted to drop in briefly because I know I think I might have been invited days ago, but I mean, certainly he said where to get the link. So I was like, oh, I better drop in and talk about my favorite TV. And that's tricky because I mean, I've moved away from TV over the years. I used to watch a ton of after school television, and I'm sure you guys, we all did, right? And TV used to have things I liked on it, but I don't know. Like, I mean, NCIS was all right. I think it was very action packed. Like I was watching the opening to NCIS with my mom many years ago, and I was like saying to my mom, like, this shit's off the hook. Like, I mean, you got fucking cars, you got Hummers jumping off of cliffs, you got this, you got things blowing up, you got the guy jumping over the pier. I don't know. I appreciated that. Although, is it a good show? I mean, it's all right. I mean, I think a lot of these law shows get a little old. Like Law and Order, I feel like there's always a message being pushed.
Sure.
And things of that nature. But as you know, Star Trek was always my jam, and we had recordings of that. And one thing that's I think that's maybe, I don't know if it's a lost art, but when I go to my VHS archives, sometimes commercials can be pretty cool and clever. I mean, there's like I got a Star Trek marathon where they have this Laserdisc commercial, and the Laserdisc flies into the home, and it's cool. I don't know. And then you got New York Telephone making these dramatic commercials, like Anyone Cares. Like you need a commercial for the company that you're forced to pay a lot to.
Well,
that's.
Oh, well, what's nice is you got a lot of YouTube channels that have these, 80s commercials, 70s commercials, and you get like an hour or so of just commercial after commercial. The things that we try to pass by or go to the bathroom or hit the pause on the VHS for.
Oh, crap. We watch more commercials than we actually watch TV shows.
Yeah,
well, the commercials were good back then.
Well, they were
scanning
just,
through the freaking channels trying to find something.
We didn't
but the
hear
thing
like
is back
1,000 Ozempic ads and all this other shit out there and stuff.
Well, but the thing is you got more commercials now.
Oh,
I mean,
of course.
Because you have like 40, 45-minute episodes, and you can thank Star Trek Next Generation for that, by the way, because they needed to have more commercials to help keep the money flowing in for $1 million or so dollars an episode.
Yeah.
But, back in the day, it was 50, 55 minutes. And so you didn't get that many commercials. And what you thought was stupid at the time is like, no, this is some brilliant commercial. I mean, Chuck Wagon. Remember the Chuck Wagon commercials?
Yeah. The Parade Chuck Wagon commercials is what you're referring to. And
yep. Dogs chasing. They open up the cabinet and boom, there's that bag for the puppy to eat.
Well, what about the McDonald's commercials for the Big Mac, Mac Tonight?
Yep. Big Mac. Oh, yeah. The estate of Bobby Durano took that down. Sadly. Yep. But the thing is, they're doing it to the 3 Penny Opera. But they're saying, no, but you're copying Bobby Darin's style. It's like, screw you. That shouldn't have been. That should have been, not that I'm a big McDonald's stand, mind you. At all, but those were brilliant commercials. And when you went in some of those Mac Tonight McDonald's, and they had a life, at a piano, and there's Big Mac himself. It's like, ooh, that's cool. We had one here in the cities. One of the last to go. But yeah, I mean, a Kool-Aid guy.
Oh yeah.
Remember the time when he broke through the wall and was at Reverend Jim Jones's little compound, and backs away out.
Sorry.
Yeah, don't squeeze the Charmin, Mr. Whipple. And of course,
Whipple. Where's the beef?
Where's the beef?
Where's the beef? Palm olive
donuts.
It's like palm olive, dish soap. It's like your hands are soaking in them. What? No. Well,
what like about the Pillsbury Doughboy?
Oh yeah, yeah. You can't show that anymore because you didn't ask permission. Well, that too, you didn't ask permission.
Like if you thought the Pillsbury Doughboy commercials from the '90s were crazy, it's like I love when I see the older ones, and I don't know, something about them. And then there's the Aunt Jemima. Well, I should even touch that with a 5-foot pole, but there's that one, right?
DJ, hey, don't worry about it.
One, you're honoring the woman who did that more than anything else. It's these cancel cultures that are insulting the woman.
That's right.
Who did that?
Yes.
I mean, I think they
Cancel
definitely
culture
moved.
fired the black woman from her job.
There was no reason
And
to
Uncle
eliminate.
Ben's.
Yeah, there was no reason to eliminate Aunt Jemima on the new box. The old commercial, like it was the fat lady who worked on the plantation. He's like, eyes make the best pancakes. And it's like, okay, yes, that's racist. Okay, condemn that. But clearly,
she
the woman
wasn't.
on the box when I grew up was an
she
upstanding
was,
woman.
man.
She looked like a respectable woman. And I'm sorry, please elaborate. I just want to make sure I give you a chance to be. Yeah.
It was never on the plantation. She was never on the plantation with any of that stuff.
But she looked like the stereotypical lady. I mean, I'm not trying to be like.
But she was. In real life, she was.
Yes.
They got her because she was who she was. And she was acting the way she was, is. And
that was okay. That didn't occur to me, and I'm not saying like it's appropriate to put on a modern commercial, but it's also not a reason to condemn the old commercial. I can see where you're coming from on this,
Right.
Yes.
But the thing is they've lied so much about this stuff that we believe the lies. And that's what they want us to do. It's like, no, this is not the case. This wasn't the case.
Exactly. It's just like the Hello Nurse. How many people really had a problem with that? Nobody. It was funny. But because it's an attractive nurse character, no.
Well, coming out of old vaudeville again, which is where these guys came from. No, in that era. Wasn't it the Marx Brothers that did that? I'm trying to remember which comedy team did the Hello Nurse. But, it was used back then, and now it's being used today by Wacko and Yakko.
Yep. Yeah. And then they bring back Animaniacs, and they start changing things for the modern audience. It's like, fuck this show, man. Like, it's not the same anymore. And I grew up with it.
Yeah, well, the thing is also, let's look at Animaniacs when they're doing it, right? Wacko and Yakko would go, hello, nurse, and Dot would be going there. Men.
They've got away from talking about history.
and then don't forget, Dot would see somebody that she liked, and she would go crazy.
Yeah, it was great, and they used to talk about all this history stuff too, and they don't do that anymore. With you all right there, DJ?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You're muted, man.
You muted yourself.
You muted, maybe for the good.
But yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was checking out Loki's comic book roundtable, and somebody said bring back the male glaze, and they meant male gaze, but male glaze sounds so bad. But go on. I'm sorry.
It does actually. I think we call that baby batter. But continue.
Time to make the donuts.
Yeah, they used to have like the history part of too. I remember I don't think they would even do they had these 3 older women. They says, would you like to watch a movie that has George Wendt in it? And at the time when I was younger, I'm like, who is that? And then when you find out who that is, like, oh, the guy Norm from Cheers.
Right.
And it's just funny because it's like it's so out of place, and they just keep bothering. These 3 women just keep bothering Yakko, Wacko, and Dot. But it was just really funny how they set it up. It's like, who's George Wendt? It's like, would you see a movie with George Wendt? And they just kept asking over and over again. It was just really funny, and so I would be surprised if they would do any of that kind of stuff.
Well, remember, good idea, bad idea.
Yes.
Good idea.
Good idea.
Going on the Late Show with DJ Ronnie G. Bad idea. Going on Pop Talk with Baron, Cash, and Mike.
Really bad idea.
Really bad idea. Yeah, no, that was clever. And so they don't do those things anymore. And they probably are saying, oh, that upsets people or my feelings. Once the whole thing with my feelings went into play, it just, all this stuff went under the bus, basically, because even when they're like, hey, so she liked this male character, but she ended up being, say, gay or a lesbian. Okay, but see, the way that they played it out, it makes sense. But now it's like they don't even want to do that storytelling. Excuse me. It's just, this is the way it is, and you have to accept that. But you guys aren't building it. And that's the thing, when we used to watch all these shows and movies and animate, a lot of this stuff, there was always that build up, and you're just like, oh wow, so that's what happened. That's really cool. Now it's just like, we'll just throw this together. We'll figure it out from there.
If it works for us, we'll keep it in there. If it doesn't work for us, well.
but it's never good storytelling because they aren't building
I don't think
up
ahead.
characters. Exactly.
Yeah, they're not building up characters, not
Or
building
the
up
story.
plot.
Mhm.
They are not good at the intricacies of storytelling itself. So you can't have quality
Right.
like
They're
twists
worried
and
about the
turns in
wrong
a story.
things. Right. They're worried about
Yeah.
the wrong things, and this is like a big problem where all this stuff just goes all over the place and not the best. That's why the ratings
That's
go
what
down on a lot of these things that people have loved
what you
for so
call
many years. Yeah.
oh dang, I had the word now, I forgot it. Well, I would say incompetence, inexperience.
Right,
So,
inexperience, and they won't go back and watch a lot of this old stuff, and they be, oh, I could get
I
ideas
get
from that.
offended.
Right, exactly. They
Well,
would
that's
get
just it. Yeah.
that's the problem. They could watch an old episode of Popeye that we loved, even the more recent ones, which was like the 90s, and they would go, oh, that's offensive. For some reason, they would find something about Popeye offensive. It's just funny to me.
Well, they do.
Yeah. Well,
You want the list?
well, no, well, yeah. What's really funny to me is like back in the day, is like people would complain if you went too edgy with a TV show or something.
Sure.
And
Yes.
they'd be like, "Oh, why do you have to do that? Oh my god, I can't." And then everybody on the left would be like, "Oh, you know, if you don't like it, don't watch it. You know, you can turn the TV off. You can change the channel. It's okay." Now it's like when we say, "Oh, why'd you put all that crap in there? We don't like it." And they're like, now they're like, "Well, you need to watch it, you bigot. If you don't watch it, you're a bigot. You're a racist."
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Bob.
See how the tables have turned just a little bit.
Yes.
Well, again, like I was saying, how they lied about Aunt Jemima. And she's an icon. There's a reason why she's an icon. And really, honestly, unless you're, really from the down south type of crowd, and it's not just the South either. You have these hunyaks all over the place, because of her skin color. Everyone adored her, and the reason why it took off is because they adored her personality and how she was out there on the road and talking, and then using her image and all that, which was
that's why
she loved it. She loved it, and people loved her because you could see that.
That's why even people with like Dukes of Hazzard, they're like, what? They're removing the Confederate flag? Are you kidding me? Like they don't even understand it. They're like, I love Dukes of Hazzard. That's the whole thing. It doesn't matter that the show has all white people in it or whatever. Any race can love these shows. Anybody can love these shows because they're well made.
Here's what people forget about the Civil War and that flag. It was about states' rights.
Right.
Not so much slavery, states' rights.
And it wasn't even the Confederate flag. That was the Confederate battle flag.
Mm-hmm.
The CSA had a different flag that represented the nation, like our Old Glory. Yeah, stars and bars is the battle flag, but yeah. But when you have that, I mean, honestly, people don't know history or even care to. They were just told by some radical pinhead who had one too many LSD capsules and is telling everybody this garbage. It's like, no, that's what we love. All this, you get just enmeshed in this history because even our entertainment has history. Mm-hmm. Our entertainment has lores and stories and folklores behind it, like what was the cheetah Cachita banana lady. What was her name again? But I got
Carmen Miranda.
Carmen Miranda. Thank you so much. The stories about her having her high heel and was hollowed out so she could have her cocaine in it. Yeah, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Good. And so you got all
nose.
Yeah, she's and some nice maracas too. But that's beside the point.
Oh yeah.
But of course, Robert Mitchum in his fighting and getting into trouble, being the bad boy back then, and and smoking the ganja man. You start hearing that some of these people were living a more exciting and interesting life than the characters they played on the screen. And that's and that's what it's all about. I mean, I know they had movies like Mulholland Drive and some of the others where they take a look in that seedier side or whatever, and heavily fictionized. But sometimes they have to take the fictionalization of the character down a bit, like Jeremiah Johnson. When they did the movie Jeremiah Johnson, they actually tamed the actual man down on the screen for Robert Redford to play. He was a lot more wild. Jeremiah liver eating Johnson and eating crow liver, because that's what you did. You took out a brave and you ate the liver because they thought the essence was in the liver, and that was his way to show them. It's like, haha, you do it. You do it for that. I'll do it back to you. And he was all mad because his Indian wife was murdered by them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what a wild story that is right there in the real life, especially when you start going into the real life. It's one of the few of those stories where, unlike the dime novels and all that, they tamed it down instead of embellishing it. Think about that, Same thing with Grizzly Adams. They tamed him down, but that was, on television.
Yeah.
I think, okay, I was wondering if DJ froze up there, but no, he's probably watching low-key.
Huh?
Exactly. What are you doing over there? You look in the corner, you look like you're frozen. It's like,
I'm in the Matrix. I got all my screens.
You got the one in Cash Money's room too hooked up yet?
We're working on it.
Oh boy.
I mean, I need to also create my hub profile and the account for the OnlyFans before we can implement that. I mean, the fund, the cost of operating
no, DJ, wrong site. Only Chins.
Only Chins. Well,
I don't think somebody might want to watch that. There's a lot of sick people out there.
Well, that's true too. That's why I'm gonna create an OnlyFans for my turtles. I'm gonna play stupid and be like, "Oh, it's a fan club. It's only for fans."
What is it called? Only shells.
Coming out of your tour shells.
Hopefully, people shell out a lot of money for my turtles.
Turtles.
It'll be a shell of a good time.
Nice.
Only shellbacks.
Oh, he's cool. Yeah, he's invited. Although I don't know.
Don't get too racy. People might get shell shocked.
It's safe to show a naked turtle. I don't know. Shellback, a nice guy, but I don't know.
I wasn't referring to that shellback, DJ.
Oops. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just looking at that's why I just showed you the multi-view to show you what draws my attention. And I'm not trying to endorse other people's shows, but I'm responsible for moderating here, okay? And we all know that moderators are very important to the internet, and that this power grants me the ability to go to Congress and get things done.
Yeah.
Who told you that?
I don't know. It seems like the way they act, it kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah, just go up there and tell them you're a moderator for YouTube, and they'll let you do whatever you want.
I'll get a badge. YouTube moderator. Try to go into buildings with that.
I'm on official YouTube business here.
But I mean, it takes a lot.
So who's getting the call to come bail him out of jail?
No, I don't. I got my phone up.
I got
he's in jail, huh? Well, he could spend the night there and think about what he did.
I'll see you next week.
I mean, I don't think anybody would respond to that. I don't even know if they could charge bail on that. I don't know how that would work. I mean, I guess it depends on what building you're trying to get into, right? I mean, most of the time, I think they just wouldn't let you in.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I most likely wouldn't know. I mean, but jokes aside, I'm sorry. My head is all over the place. If I was in Avatar mode, you guys would be none of the wiser. But then I'd have to get a new avatar. Speaking of which, I should get a new avatar that looks like Spock. Nah, but I don't know what I want. Like, what should I do? Like, see, Mike, you got a good avatar. Baron, you got your cool AI generated avatar. Anonymous has his first initial there. That makes sense. Cash has a picture of himself there, so that's why I don't know why you guys say he's got a chin. Clearly,
actually, mine is first and second initial.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh yeah, I see it now.
Yeah,
I see it. Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. I need to draw a 3D Nintendo 64. I'm sorry, not a. The N64 logo has a 3D N.
Yeah.
I want to make a 3D M. I forgot why.
What's the M for?
It's gonna be like for some dumb project. Why can't I remember why? I come up with
masochism.
There was a perfectly good reason. It was like almost like oh yeah, I remember now. I'm gonna make a new intro for my show, and I got the answer. It's gonna be the PlayStation 1 sound. You know, when you turn on the thing and it says like Sony Computer Entertainment, it's like play that, and then after it plays
down.
I'm not going for Iron Man, but this is the reason why I chose the PlayStation load up sound, because I'm pretty sure that won't get me struck or anything like that. So to play the buzzing sound followed by the little and then instead of having a PlayStation logo, I want to like troll. So I want to have like a Nintendo 64 logo. But I said, well, instead of making a Nintendo 64 logo, we'll make it an M, because M is for Monday's show.
Monday. And C is for cookie, and that's good enough for me.
Cookies sound good right now.
I know, I'm being a jackass.
Yes, you are. Absolutely. You know, doing that.
You know what really grinds my gears?
No, I'm just kidding. But we do have this.
See, you know why Darren's doing this is because we have been very lax on using clips in recent shows.
Right, and I'm sensing that we're coming towards the end of it, so I want to try to get that little quota in there. And for a lot of you guys out there with a lot of shows that you were saying that were so good and all that, this is all I got to say.
It stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's like your opinion, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Why see it and then play it? I mean,
did you like Beyond Belief with Riker on it or James Brolin on it? Which one was the one you liked more? Because we only started Riker, right? Me too. Yeah,
right.
We only started watching it because Riker was on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought, definitely. Yeah. That's like saying, do you like it because Leonard Nimoy was on it?
That was good.
Yeah. Now you just brought up memories of Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Oh, these are a few things that Robert L. Ripley challenged us to believe it or not.
Jack Palance, baby, Jack Palance.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it.
Yeah, and his daughter,
Yeah.
Hey guys, you want to watch some Star Trek? I got a hokey.
Yeah. Like, and let's not forget the most picture. Show.
What the crap?
No, dude, this is Baron's twin brother, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
hi.
That
is me. But but we can't forget the one that really scared the heck out of you: Unsolved Mysteries.
Oh yeah.
On the night of May 22nd, 2024, there's a show called Pop Talk on YouTube. Then it disappeared.
Do you know why? Why? Because the chemicals in the water are turning the freaking Gorn gay.
Stop drinking the water,
Did you see the one where Alex Jones has a fight with a creeper from Minecraft, and then he runs up to the creeper and the creeper blows him up?
No, I haven't.
They made a meme of it. I'll have to send it to you, dude. It's
oh, please do.
Cash will send it to you as he's doing this. Let me find the clip.
He's looking for the clip for clip time.
It's not a liquid. It's a great many pieces of solid matter that form a hard floor-like surface.
Oh, I remember that. That's a good one. It's actually very important and instructive because in the movie when The Rock steals a bag he has a bag, like a tote bag full of gold bars, and he's just carrying it up a flight of stairs. That's like literally impossible because like gold is heavier than lead. So a sack of lead would not be something you could just pick up. The bag would rip apart, the zipper would rip open, you would drop it down a flight of stairs, and that's something that many movies get wrong.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with you, man. Some of this stuff is ridiculous. So yeah.
Sorry.
I was gonna say, well, it is. I mean, some of the things that they portray in movies, you go, no, that's not how it works.
It can't happen.
Now, how is gold heavier than lead? I was told in a movie that lead is one molecule away from being gold.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Alchemist City. Welcome to Alchemist City. Alchemist City. Alchemist City. We got your fine lead here to turn into gold. We got, we have philosopher's stones in the discount aisle.
And Infinity Stones. They're on sale right now. 20% off.
Why don't you take a break, Timmy, from that fine lead paint?
Yeah. Well, no, the philosopher's stone was the thing that was supposed to help transmutate lead into gold. But, I was just thinking, we're talking about history, how people just don't know friggin' history about anything, especially in the entertainment industry. This is how they're taught.
We're trying to get Paul to watch that movie, and a bunch of us will watch it with him, but he still hasn't done it. Come on, Paul.
Come on, Paul.
Man.
House.
You know what?
No more house, dude.
The one thing about it is just realizing Pinto in that film played Amadeus in Amadeus.
That's true. So crazy.
I know.
It's something. Yeah.
Yeah, I've not had Infinity Stones, but I have had kidney stones, so I'm going to say that they're probably infinitely better.
Yeah, I've had kidney stones myself, and they ain't fun.
I've had Infinity Stones that were kidney stones. I don't know how that happened, but I'll tell you one thing. That was a magic wand down there for a while.
I'm sure you had the reality stone.
Half the bathroom was gone. It's like, oh God, now what am I going to do? I just snapped my finger and half the bathroom is. I gotta go bathroom here. Come on.
Oh,
that's the Infinity kidney stones. Okay, great. Thank you.
And gentlemen, before we wrap this up, is there anything you'd like to say as a final word, or promote yourself, or tell me to shut the fuck up?
The end is nigh. Repent now.
Yeah, you hear that? You hear that, Phil?
Yeah, Phil. I don't know if there's any forgiveness for you, old man.
He's Agent Smith, man. I'm telling you, he came out of the Matrix again.
I bet.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Anderson.
Wait till he figures out how to clone himself.
Oh no. Where's my Mythbusters? Where's my
That's
Sword
all-
Art Online?
That's all we need, 2 Phils. We certainly don't need 2
Where's my
mics,
Shogun?
that's for sure.
Where's my Shogun? Where's it?
One of me is bad enough.
Hey, man.
I got 2 mics. I got
One of me is too much.
Sometimes I use another mic.
DJ and stereo. Well, anyway, I'd like to say that I have finished my comic book.
Woohoo!
And I'm trying to figure out how to make it into a little video so I can put it on my YouTube channel. So I do have it in a PDF.
I thought you meant reading it. I thought you meant reading the comic book. And, I was just wondering how long it took you, and were your lips moving as you were doing that? So.
Oh, yeah, obviously, my lips move every time I read something. So that's just can't stop that. That's just a thing,
That's a thing with a lot of people.
So, no.
Cash.
And
maybe
I have to have a lot of people read stuff to me. So
come on,
it is what it is. But yeah, so I figure out how to make a video out of it. I'll post it. It'll be there.
Nice.
Cool.
Do it.
That'd be fun. Really. I'm not kidding.
What?
Better not be kidding.
No, I said that'll be fun. I mean, I'm not joking. I'm not being an asshole.
Not this time.
I'm not being a Cash. Because Cash Pop is a bad dude.
He is.
That's
right.
He is.
Right. Sure,
like
sure,
Shaft.
Baron. Sure.
Yep.
You don't think so?
No, Cash isn't a bad dude.
Cash Pop is a bad dude.
Yeah, Cash Pop. Yeah.
It's his alter ego. He's
right.
It's like a whole different person.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, so Cash Pop has more energy than Cash does, is what you're saying.
I hope not. That's not
He's
true.
a bad dude.
He's a bad dude. There you go.
Yeah, Cash Pop's a bad dude.
All right. Next.
Who would like to go next and promote the things, the things that you do on your channel and stuff?
Distracted J. Ronnie G. There we go.
Yeah,
See,
and I'm
me in
sorry.
there.
I was just
DJ Ronnie G. Nerd.
So here's what I will do. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah,
What?
we can hear you.
What? Are you saying something, huh?
Oh, the guy on the DJ show.
Anyway,
What's going on?
Next. Who's next now? Okay.
Me, because I'm a clone of me. I just
DJ Ronnie Gundam is next.
I'll get you my clone. Here, wait.
DJ Ronnie Gundam.
So here's my plan. I'm going to do stuff on camera.
He looks like a flopping flounder.
He does.
He thinks he's a clone now. There's always 2 or 3 of DJ Ronnie G running around. Yeah.
DJ Ronnie G, you might have to go to the bathroom later. Man.
I got a plan. I got a master plan, and it's the master plan for one man, and that's me, the not master of masters of what actually. Anyway, okay, jokes aside, I got my work cut out for me. I'm going to upload some video games of Star Wars gameplay. Well, I'm not talking English right now.
No.
Start over. I'm going to upload videos of me playing Star Wars video games, and I'm going to set them up to premiere on the eve of the 25th. And I like this idea because my biggest concern is while Angry Canadian is being real kind, he's getting the word out. He wants to promote. He wants to help out in promoting everyone. And even Pops messaged me about this. I don't want to tell people I'm streaming at a time that someone else is streaming. So it would be nice if I knew everyone's schedule. But I figured
DJ. What has Loki said many times during his YouTube talk?
I know that, but
about streaming at the same time. Just do it, man. Just do it, man.
Because
I thought it was take a breath.
I'm choosing to do this. I'm not saying everyone else has to do what I'm doing. I would not be offended if anybody else decides to pick the same time slot as me, because as they say, may the best man win, and I'm confident in being the best. So that's not an issue there.
Oh, wow.
Listen to him. Listen to him. He's got spicy.
But no, in all
no one will be better than me, DJ Ronnie G.
I'm not terribly
I will find you.
I see Pops is working hard. He does good content. I want to watch it. If I'm streaming, I can't watch the content that I enjoy. So that's part of it too. It's really I have a self-serving reason here. It's not just because I care about people's fifis. I want to enjoy. I want my fifis to be good. But jokes aside, I know that if I upload a bunch of premieres in the middle of the night leading up to the day, that's not going to conflict with anyone anyway. And even if it does, it's like free choice. Maybe someone enjoys this video game more. Maybe the next stream or next premiere they enjoy something else more. But my biggest challenge is picking a time for the day of, and because I'm not a morning person, I'll probably pick afternoons. The bottom line is just look at the community posts when they come out, and you'll know what I'm doing. But in the very short term, don't be surprised if you see 1 or 2 uploads regarding configuring OBS to do certain things. That will be sooner than Friday.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Mike.
And real quick, because we really didn't hear. Real quick, because we really didn't get to hear your answers, but what are some of your favorite TV shows and movies?
Jumping outside of the realm of Star Trek and Star Wars and Japanese anime, although Babylon 5 has become a favorite as of 2017, Stargate SG-1 has been one of my favorites for over a decade, well over a decade at this point.
Me and you can be friends now.
Right? It's a good qualifier. It is a good qualifier.
That's right.
SG-1 is good. And I might lose your friendship if I say that I enjoyed Stargate Universe on the third rewatch. First rewatch, I was a big hater, and then I didn't give it a chance for years. But I think when I was deprived of any new Stargate, I gave it a real chance, and I realized it wasn't terrible. I mean, I could understand the issues people had, but I think SGU maybe got a bit more flack than it deserved on the whole. But that being said, it is an adjustment.
Breaking up.
Really?
No, you're not. It's just
Okay,
anonymous being
No,
anonymous.
me and you, we're breaking up. We can't be friends anymore.
Okay, good. It's not my audience. That's understandable.
Oh, there goes that romance.
I understand because like there's a
That
ship full of whiny
romance
scientists.
went away quick.
Come on,
Yeah,
man.
really.
Quicker than Hollywood,
Well, he
right
said it
there.
was gonna happen.
DJ Pop's a bad dude.
But no, beyond that, if I had to just like the general things, like I mentioned some sci-fi, right? I watched Lex a few years ago. That was interestingly good.
That was an awesome show. That was an awesome
yeah,
show.
right. It was very bizarre. Like it was so weird that like in a way like I applaud them for being willing to make it that weird, because there was a lot of weird elements, but I loved it. And another show I used to like to watch was a show called Computer Chronicles. It was on PBS, and we'd tune into PBS on a weekly basis or whatever. And it was basically like, I think, done in California, and then the guy would mail the tapes out. And it was just like, it covered the 90s. So like in the 90s when, the internet was new to us. I mean, the internet, a lot of people assume the internet wasn't invented until a certain time when it was already, it existed long before a lot of people had access to it. But anyway, it's just an interesting vibe seeing computers in the 90s and seeing like this, like everything was new, everything was fresh. And even now I'll go back to those episodes of Computer Chronicles from the 90s and the early 2000s. And that's when it gets a little stale. And then some of the 80s stuff, but just things that I watched when they were currently on TV. I think we covered it already, and like I said, when I got my first DVR, it was a lot of Next Generation, a lot of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Right now, I remember now. Family Matters, TGIF block. You had I'm not saying like Step by Step was the best, but it was a good entertainment block.
It wasn't a bad show.
Yeah, it wasn't indeed exactly, Cash. And so we had that.
Turned into the Cody Show.
And I really like Family Matters a lot because you had like Urkel doing his like funny nerd stuff, and maybe that's why I could relate to it so well. But yeah, just a little bit of a sampling, and of course my family did watch In Living Color, although I was really young back then, so I didn't really appreciate it the way most people who are older than me are capable of appreciating it. And my first touch of anime was Galaxy Express 39. It was on, I think, the Long Island channel, one of the local public stations that like basically like they had like they would play like they had a special block. They were playing some old anime, and my dad would me and my brother would be sitting on my dad's lap, and he would be reading the subtitles, and he'd be like Tesoro, and it was just like that was technically my first taste of anime. And so I think that about covers all of our bases, except that, of course, they had the Toonami block on Cartoon Network. Oh, and of course, I used to watch Cartoon Fridays, which I wouldn't say that's like highbrow entertainment, but when I was a 12-year-old, I did enjoy that crap. I think it was a decent block for a 12-year-old like me. Oh, and Ninja Turtles. I mean, Ninja Turtles is probably one of the first cartoons I watched seriously. And then lastly, I remember a memory that my mom relayed to me when I was a little kid. There was a bunch of hot models on the screen, and I go up to the TV like this. Hey, Mom, look at all the pretty girls. And my mom thought it was the funniest thing because, like little 3-4-year-old me is already like, knowing what's up.
Yeah. Yeah. Your mom's like, woo, he's not gay. Thank God.
So, yeah, that's basically like a pretty broad overview there. And I appreciate having the opportunity to share that despite being a little scattered brain on that. But I think I conveyed that which I intended to convey.
I appreciate you taking the time to join us. I mean, we all have our different likes and dislikes when it comes to entertainment, but guess what? That's what makes us unique.
There's stuff I like, and you're all wrong. That's just
Baron likes Gorlock, and he's very sexually attracted to the big Gorlock dude. So, and wrong that we don't.
Yes, you are.
Meet Grimlock destroy Gorlock.
I don't think anything can destroy
my.
Gorlock.
Not that way, Gorlock, the way you think. Big Grimlock actually destroy you. Where you don't life anymore. Because you're Decepticon. All right. Gorlock, go ahead and promote yourself.
Yeah, go ahead, Gorlock.
Well, I believe we did come to the conclusion that we're not going to have, of course, our Babylon 5.
Sorry.
This
I had a jump scare.
Oh.
I know that usually happens on Pop Talk. People get jump scares.
Yeah.
I look up, I see Baron's face, I see Cash's photo, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm sorry. Let me just turn off my screen and the camera so you don't see me get sick.
Respect my privacy. Respect my privacy. DJ, respect my privacy. So,
that's great.
My privacy. We forgot to say South Park and all this, but we're not going to have, of course, the discussion of Babylon 5 this weekend. This is starting to become the big weekend. You got the Star Wars, Orthodox Star Wars Day coming up, and a lot of people are celebrating.
First.
Han was the only one that shot. Come on, see it right, man. Are you going to be a true Orthodox or not? That's that entering that liberal Star Wars crap in there that he shot first. No, Han only shot first. Adhere to the scripture.
See, I provoked an emotion out of him. I did my job.
You did.
Mm-hmm. I may have to watch the Project 4K versions this weekend.
How dare you? How dare you? So we won't have that, but of course, I believe Cash Pop and I will be on Jace's stream on Thursday, which is tomorrow, anywhere between 6 and 6:30 Central Daylight Time on, of course, it's called The Beyond. So please go to 540 Studios, The Beyond, tomorrow, 6 and 6:30 Central Daylight Time. Cash and me will be there, as well as Jace and Prismatics, and I don't know who else will show up, so we'll find out.
We'll find out.
And speaking of you and Cash, is there anything coming up with you and Baron that you'd like to promote? Because like I told you guys off stream, when you do it, there's only one thing I want to see you guys do: kick ass and take names.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think we're. Are we ready yet?
We're not ready.
No, we gotta get some nitty gritty down there.
We've got to finish.
Suspense, folks. Suspense.
We've got to finish all of Babylon 5, and then we'll work on
it. And not only that, when it does happen, we will bury you, Mike. We will bury you right here, right now, in this mat, right here, in this ring. OUT, right.
Well,
the next day, I'd like to make an announcement. I'm replacing Cash and Baron with Janet and somebody else.
Baron Von Tagge here. They're gonna crush you.
Okay, I was being encouraging, but you guys,
boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
Didn't it? Brick killed a guy with a trident. Yeah.
Better lay low for a while.
Yeah, and you guys better lay low for a while. Stop calling your arms guns. There are so many great. You got to watch that movie, man. Anchorman. If you like dodgeball, I am sure you're gonna love Anchorman. I am sure of it. I know it's so funny.
Afternoon delight.
It's
stay classy, San Diego.
And just like our president, he reads every word on the teleprompter.
Right.
He does.
Pause.
He does. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And Kathleen Kennedy faded.
Yeah. Ron Burgundy, would you like to play jazz flute for us? Yeah, like I said, there's just so many great lines in that movie.
Women can do stuff now.
That's right. I didn't hear what you said. Yeah. Dude, that guy cleans up good. Like there's just great lines in that movie. So many. Jack Black pops up a little bit too. He's funny.
Well, guess what? Now this is happening.
Yes. I love scotch. Scotchy scotch. Yeah. Here goes down into my belly. It's just, you'll have to watch it, Bear, and I think you're gonna laugh.
Yeah, I know. I gotta see that movie. I really
Sexist
do.
jokes and even the females like get the men back, and it's just really funny, dude. It's a quality
Oh
script.
yeah, that's what makes it funny is when you got the guys getting hacked on by the girls. I mean,
yes. Vince Vaughn pops up in it. I won't tell you what his role is, but it's very funny.
I'm not surprised.
There's a mom joke in there too. It's fun.
What about dad jokes?
No, I don't think there's really any dad jokes in that, if I remember correctly.
But what do you have coming up on the Phantom Hooligans?
We've got. I'm working on still another Crab's Treasure. I've been recording it, but it's not quite ready yet. And then on Friday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll be back with some more Dark Tide. Now, I'm probably going to get. Let's see, it's not Friday yet, so I'm probably going to hopefully get another level or two. So I think it'll hopefully help, but hopefully it's not going to be a situation like Vermintide. Hey, you're this level. Oh, you're punishing the team. No, I'm supposed to be the coach. I'm not supposed to punish anybody.
It's all your fault, Cash.
It's all my fault, man. Oh, by the way, Mike, I noticed you were trying Helldivers 2 again. Did you get that to work or?
I managed to get into a mission that it was already started, and I was the only one that was able to leave said mission because the other two players were yeeted.
Yeah.
From the server.
So it's still a problem. Okay. Did you hear also the developers are like, we're going to have less updates, and it's going to make things more challenging. Based on my
That's not a good sign.
No, it isn't. It isn't. But they did come out recently. Arrowhead
abandon all the who come here.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
But yeah, that's what's
what they've
coming
done.
up. And then of course I'm still working on my Star Trek video, but right now I'm just mainly focused on getting to a certain point in another Crab's Treasure, which, as I like to always say, SpongeBob meets Dark Souls. This game can be very unforgiving, especially the boss fights. Yeah, unforgiving like Cuphead, because it's a Dark Souls type style with crabs and other things that attack you. Fish. Yeah.
Cash has crabs.
You heard it.
That's
you
what
heard
I
it
heard.
here first.
That's what I
folks.
heard. That's what I heard.
I want to get that checked out.
But no, it's a fun game. It's not like your Crab Krill. He's not like Mr. Krabs, but I mean, I guess in a way he does collect things, but not actual money like Krabs does.
Money.
Give me my money, me boy.
Me boy. Yeah. Yeah, but that's what's coming up on the Phantom Hooligans.
All right.
Hooligan.
And what's coming up on Pacific414? Well, it'll be on the two channels that this is streaming to, the YouTube and the Rumble channel. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, I will be playing more of Stellar Blade. I'm going to see how far I can get into it tomorrow. Now, I am contemplating starting it a half hour earlier than originally posted. So might start at 5:30 because I do have somewhere I need to be Friday morning. So I want to at least try to get as much into the game as I can for tomorrow night's stream. So again, I might start at a half hour early. I might not. We'll see. And
do you have any cons about that game, or what do you like?
Con!
Yeah. Do you have any cons?
Okay. When it comes to purchasing some ammo for your weapon, you have to keep holding down the X button each time you go to purchase the ammo. So you purchase it once, then you got to press the X down again to keep purchasing more. It's like, can't I just let you know by game design, say, I want, 10 clips of this particular ammo, and then press X once and be done with it? No, you got to press the X button each time. So I was like, okay, this takes 40 pieces of this ammo. of the slug ammo. So I have to press X each and every time to get up to 40.
Wow, that is annoying. Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be rude. Hello, Lady Miss. Good to see you.
Hello, nurse.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that really the only problem you found so far?
So some of the controls still aggravate me because you
They're
do
still
have to be
wonky.
very.
Okay.
You have to be so delicate when you're pressing the left analog stick to control Eve that if you're not, and I'm sure you noticed it last night with some instances,
yeah,
you can pretty much screw up the whole game.
And that's kind of also what happened when you were clicking on the triangle, X, circle, and square as well.
Yeah.
That's annoying. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's annoying, man. But I'm guessing you would give this game, from what you've played so far, about an 8 out of 10. That's just my guess, but
right now it's more of a 7 out of 10.
Wow. Okay.
Well, it's because in some cases last night when I was fighting a boss, I was hitting the dodge button and also hitting the block button when I needed to, and Eve wasn't moving. It's like, come on, Eve, you're not backed against the wall. Let's move. Let's dodge.
That's
let's
frustrating,
block.
man. Are you thinking after you finish this game, you're thinking of playing something like Nier Automata? Is that on your list?
I
had a feeling.
Because somebody gifted me that game for my birthday. So
yes, very nice.
So I am thinking about playing that. I mean,
Good.
I do have games that I was gifted that I want to get
Me
around
too.
to playing.
Me too, man. Yes. Yeah. That's cool. So yeah, you're giving it about a 7 out of 10. So your opinion might change. Do you think you're close to the end of the game, or?
I'll have to load up the game to see where it tells me as far as my progress is concerned.
Okay.
Because that's one thing I've noticed about playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and also playing Stellar Blade. It actually tells you how much of the game you've already completed.
Mm-hmm.
At one point when I looked, I was at 25% for Stellar Blade. I don't know where it is after last night because I didn't even bother to look. I ended the stream and turned off my computer, my PS5, and went to bed.
Yeah. But you got a lot done, and that's what's always you want to do as much as possible on any stream. I believe you want to get a lot done. So I think it's just not worth it to play a game on stream. Just my opinion. I know other people do this with videos like 30, 40 minutes. I think you should play easily over an hour or more if you're going to do a stream of that, or even a record.
And I was pleasantly pleased with last night's stream overall because I didn't have any pixelated images on the screen, and
From what I saw, it looked nice, man. Mm-hmm. It looked nice. So on YouTube,
so hopefully the next Streamlabs OBS update doesn't screw up my settings again.
I hope not, dude. It's annoying.
Yeah, it is. But of course, I mentioned tomorrow, and then you've heard that I'll be with Cash and Baron on Friday. We'll be playing Darktide, but Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern, I'll be playing Dark Forces to celebrate the real Star Wars Day.
Orthodox.
Yes. And then Sunday at 1, Baron and I will be back with the Sunday edition of Pop Talk. I don't know how long we're going to go for. I don't know what we're talking about at this point. I'll figure it out as I go along. And as Baron and I look for articles, we'll figure it out. And I'm sure if Cash contributes articles, we'll talk about those too. And we'll just do our best impression of Cash.
Well, guys, everything sucks. I'm gonna put my head in a blender. No, but it's well, you know. But no, I have to deal with some family stuff. It's important. I have to drive, so it's all right.
How many times have I told the both of you? Family comes first.
I don't care if I'm saying it on stream. I would rather be on Pop Talk on Sunday than have to drive, but it's all right.
The evils of barricades!
And Cash?
Yeah.
I'm going to say it here on stream. as someone who no longer has his parents, cherish every moment you have with your parents.
Bro. I know.
Anybody who knows this crazy guy screaming about Barricade 3, can you please come to the office?
That was Baron.
Who's
Who's this guy? He keeps walking around. He's this big dude. He keeps going. He's like, that Barricade stuff.
This guy with a magnificent chin.
Right, sure. Can you imagine going around a convention? Hey guys, did you hear about Barricade 3?
What? Have you told anybody about your new situation, Cash? Before we go?
My new situation?
Yeah, I mean, Ben Affleck and J-Lo broke up, and J-Lo ran and brought Cash home with her, and Ben Affleck was left behind at Cash's place. He's staying, of course, he's bunked up in there, bunked up with his brother to help take care of the family. So this is a recent thing that's happened to our boy here, California Cash.
If I had a chance, though, to talk to Jennifer Lopez, I would probably ask her, why have you been in some shitty-ass movies?
She'd probably tell you to F off.
She probably would. Yeah.
But don't you like my butt?
Right. Don't you know how many men I've slept with?
Mm-hmm. Well, just, Ben Affleck will be going around like Cartman now, having her face,
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But that's what's coming up for Pacific414 on YouTube and Rumble for the remainder of this week, going into Sunday. And at this time, I want to thank everybody who stopped by and joined us during this live stream. I want to thank Cool Frog over on Rumble. Good to see you, Cool Frog. And over on the YouTube side, Lady Mist, thank you very much for stopping by. The princess of YouTube herself, Leia Rose.
Yes.
Tim, also known as FKHC 2005.
Yes.
Spock, who will be our guest on the June 2nd edition of Pop Talk.
Very cool.
Thank you, Spock. Anonymous.
That's me.
Anonymous.
Oh, wait. We haven't played his theme song, have we? Oh.
I did.
We did. Do you watch the show? Do you watch this show?
No,
he doesn't.
I was unfortunately out of that room. I don't care. I'm playing it again.
Anonymous.
There you go. Just for you, Anonymous.
Yeah, you were out of your mind.
He's got the attention span of a gnat.
Nope. I had to leave the
gnat.
room. It was probably when I said be right back. I wasn't here. So.
I'm doubly offended.
Not paying attention. Doubly offended. Oh, no.
Well, double dumbass on you.
That's right.
So, Anonymous, thank you for also hopping on to the panel and letting us know what your favorite movies are, and really appreciate it.
Sweetly.
TVs and TV shows. Yep.
Big
TV shows.
Daddy, T-Gap Steve. Yeah, that's right, Big Daddy.
We've had some weird things happen. Cook the movie and something Barron said, and
well, yeah, Cook the movie. You rip the hell out of it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Blazerhawk Darren, thank you very much.
It's that
the angriest. Oh, shut up about that Mayberry thing, Barron.
Oh.
The angriest of Canadians, angry Canadian. DJ Ronnie G.
Turtles, nerd.
And of course, we had Wookie Be Bad.
Turtle Love.
Lord Crit of Everest Productions.
Yeah, if you guys have never watched Lupin the Third, I highly recommend it. It's quite enjoyable.
The Padawannabe. And of course, the Troll of Trolls.
Yes.
Phil McCracken.
The old of olds.
Yes, he likes his new thing is now, Cash gets very sad when Pop Talk ends. It's like, no, it ends for the day.
We have to talk him off the cliff. That's what we have to do.
Well, I appreciate you lurking, Lady Miss. I appreciate everybody who lurks, everybody who hops into the chat. I appreciate it.
Oh, I thought she was cussing there when she was saying about over 2 lurking hours. I thought she kind of misspelled something. So okay, okay.
Oh, yeah. Typo.
We
But
love you,
I
Lady Miss.
appreciate I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody who takes the time out of their morning, day, night, depending on where they live, and watches whatever we're doing here on Pop Talk or whatever game I happen to be streaming. Whether you're watching on YouTube, Rumble, or when I stream on Twitch or Kick, or even times I've streamed on Twitter. Thank you all so very much. DJ!
I'm gonna buy DJ a soft keyboard.
Yes, sleep DJ.
DJ's going soft. DJ's going soft.
DJ, are you going to make your? Are you going to change the color of your hair soon? Are you going soft?
His hair.
Yep.
Now he's muted.
You're muted, buddy. You're muted, buddy.
Man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still muted, but that's all right. We can read lips.
That's
that fast.
But
sign language.
DJ Ronnie woke. Is that what you're saying?
DJ Ronnie woke. Ow.
Yeah,
look at that look. Look at that.
I'm not even going to say the long thing. I'm just going to say I'm going to tie my hair blue, and I'm going to show that I'm able to speak truth to power.
Turtles are taking over the world, and you better get used to it. You better love these reptile-shelled people, and I will be their king. I, DJ Ronnie G.
I can make you the regent.
Okay, good. I like
DJ Ronnie G.
Yep. But I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. It's always nice to see you guys in the chat and, see what your favorite movies are or whatever it is we're talking about. Call me out when I make a blooper, cooking the movie. Yeah, that's right. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to run with that. If you're going to cook a movie, make sure you cook it at 375 for over an hour.
We're learning Mayberry slang here, folks. Enjoy it. Yeah.
Shut up about that Mayberry slang, Baron. Gosh,
no!
I mean, it could be worse. It could be Minnesota. Oh yeah. Did you go up to the fishing? Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
Did you go up to the Minnesota Riviera up there in Duluth? Oh yeah, you got to go up to Minnesota Riviera. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I saw Jesse the Body Ventura.
Hello everybody. I'm Jesse. I ain't got time to read.
I'm supposed to be a nice guy, but I'm really not.
Thank you, Lady Miss. Thank you.
Yes.
That's what he always.
I mean, I know what it sounds like in California. Oh, dude, you get that gnarly wave, dude. Yeah, I was on skateboarding the other day, bruh, and I got on the half pipe, bruh.
Yeah, and then if the person's high, they go. Some good shit, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, Mike, you got it all wrong. He's up there in Beverly Hills living. He's got the electric. I do say, may I have another glass of champagne, please? And the caviar is magnificent.
Champagne.
And of course, because my mother grew up in the same area as DJ Ronnie G, I know how they talk in New York,
But why doesn't DJ Ronnie G sound that way?
Maybe he does. Maybe this is just his on-air voice. Then when he's off, he's like, I can't believe I was on with those schmucks.
Yeah.
He was born on Ladman Island.
Yeah, that's right.
Got the dialect.
You too, Lady Miss. Everybody, have a great evening, great afternoon, great morning, wherever you live. And remember, don't ever give up on me in a game, because Just when you do, you might miss something.
You might miss him dying for the 100th time.
He might win.
Shut up.
Rarely.
Shut up. Night, everybody.
Autobots, transform and roll out.
I'd like to see you play Cuphead on Autobots.
Pop Talk is where it's at, baby. Pop Talk is where it's at, baby.
I call bullshit.
Bye.
I know.